Hello there, hello there, hello there, everybody. How the devil are we all? I am very well. Thank you for asking! When I say I'm very well, I do not mean that. I am, in fact, not good. But thank you for asking, if you did ask. If you didn't ask, you know what, I also get that. That's fine. It is what it is. I have had... I mean, I'm not going to go into any details whatsoever. You wouldn't expect me to. But I have had a shite day. To the point where I didn't even think I'd be back home by now. But suffice it to say, I am here now, and I need something to distract me. So that's what this is, okay? I apologise profusely for for my existence, in all honesty. But yeah, I went past... Well, I'm not late, because I hadn't planned on doing a stream at all today. Because I thought I'd still be completely fucked. But I am here now, so hello. And so this is literally just... This, in many respects, this stream has always been therapy for me, but it is nothing more than that today. It's I'm just chatting and stuff, you know? We're going to watch the second half of the H-Bomber video, because I need something to take my mind off the eternal ennui of existence. Yeah? Yeah. Also, is the pool closed or something? Is the pool... Lord Freetus, I love you deeply, in a profound and sexual way, but I don't understand what that means. I don't know what that is. I'm sorry. I want mine to be brand new, fully loaded too, and in red. Thanks for volunteering to purchase my new Chrysler. That was not what I was doing. An old Vine meme. I was just doing the old Vine. Hang on, let's see if I can find her. Merry Christmas Vine. Would it even be a thing? Oh, here we go. It's more well known than I thought it was. I was doing this meme. but not muted.
It's Christmas.
Anyway.
Happy Christmas. It's Christmas. Merry Chrysler. Merry Chrysler.
Merry Chrysler. That's what I was doing. I was doing Merry Chrysler. I was not offering to purchase you any kind of motor vehicle. But that's just because I'm old and that, you know. It is what it is. Anyway. You have yourself photoshopped as the infamous Habbo Hotel Pools Closed meme, and you don't know what the Pools Closed meme, sir, what the hell? Is that what that is? Okay. If that's what that is, then cool. It was just a thing that someone did once, and I went, oh, that's funny. And I kept it in a folder on my computer with a million other memes. You've seen most of them, I think. There are one or two that are terms of service, and thus you probably haven't seen them. I won't go into them. Oh, it is an actual thing. Pools Closed. Part of a series of Anonymous. On Anonymous. Pools Closed is a catchphrase associated with the series of raids carried out by Anonymous against the online social networking site Habbo Hotel, where members of the group formed human blockades to obstruct the entry points in popular hangouts with their avatars dressed in afros and business suits. The first raid was launched blah 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 blah. Honestly, fucking end it. End all humanity. I don't care. Kiefer and the Christmas Tree. What in the living fuck is this? Are we just doing Christmas memes? By the way, I don't know if you started off on a Christmas theme here just because I've got in the title. That's just fucking clickbait. Well, it's not even clickbait. It's just there had to be a title, so I chose a stupid sentence. That's literally all that is. We're not talking about Christmas in any real way whatsoever tonight.
Hey, Keith, you're a pirate, man.
That would explain everything.
As you do. Let's watch myself in just going round and round forever. As you do. Let's watch myself in fuck that, it's gonna fucking mess with my head. Let's fuck it, I can have James Somerton's name on the screen while I do this. If you wanted to, and why would you, especially tonight? But what was I gonna fucking do? So yeah, you can hit the follow button, you can subscribe with Amazon Prime, as Grey on Wannabe did, 31 months, much love. You can give subs to the community, you can do bits messages, 200 bits or more gets you a text-to-speech. You can do super chats via the super chat link below, $2 there gets you a text-to-speech. You can help me out on Patreon or PayPal. You can go over to the Discord, the Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Blue Sky and TikTok. That is the quickest I've ever done that, all from memory as well. I am fucking delicious. Right, James Somerton Ponage or something. Let's go.
James Somerton is a gay YouTuber with a degree in business administration who frequently refers to himself as a
Can I just say all YouTubers are gay? So I don't even know why he needed to add the suffix gay YouTuber. That's just taken as read, isn't it? Oh, you do YouTube, so you're a gay. That's it. Fact. Have you ever heard of a YouTuber? Gay.
marketing expert.
I'm a YouTuber, marketing expert, and film school grad. I'm also gay.
Cool. In 2014, he briefly made videos about geek stuff, reviewing Marvel movies and so on. Several years later, when video essays became a popular format, he started making those, with a focus on queer characters in media and LGBT film history, and occasionally anime, such as this really successful video about the fascism of Attack on Titan, which has mysteriously disappeared. Where did it go? I wonder what happened there. Somerton is doing great by the standards of queer YouTube, in terms of views, ad revenue, sponsorships, Patreon income, and donations on his live streams. The man is doing extremely well financially in a field where people generally struggle to do this full time. In many ways, James Somerton is a success story our entire community should be proud of. Not to rain on this pride parade, but whenever I saw a video by James in my recommendations, I would have to stop watching because it quickly became clear to me he didn't know what he was talking about. The first video of his I ever saw was about Disney's relationship with the queer community, and in it he claims Disney set up an event called Gay Night and claimed to give the profits to charity, but actually kept the money.
During the 1990s, Disney's parks also tried profiting from their LGBT fans by creating
True,
Gay
Nick,
Night.
true.
a one-night-a-year
I lied to everybody about streaming, and therefore you should rain down punishment upon me. As if I'd said Jehovah, which I didn't, but as if I did. Yeah. Okay, I just got to remind myself that everyone has a grift they're vulnerable to, and apparently mine is video essays. Yes. Mine is sock puppets.
event at the parks where LGBT folk would be the
That's
main
not true.
guests. It was a big hit. Initially, the revenue was all to be donated to the Aid for AIDS Foundation, but by 1995, donations to the charity had dried up. And Disney was keeping all of the profits for themselves.
He's misremembering a really well-known event. Gay Night was not set up by Disney, they didn't sanction it. A travel agency rented the park out for the night, and they kept the money they were supposed to have donated. This is a bit sloppy, but then he claims the more progressive CEO Bob Iger expanded Gay Nights into full Gay Day events.
Under his stewardship, Disney switched from the once-a-year Gay Night at Disney parks to the full Gay Days event, rebranding the occasion into a more family-friendly affair.
Now, obviously, Iger couldn't rebrand something Disney wasn't doing and had no control over. Gay Days is actually a completely separate event, which is also unofficial and
All days are gay. I mean, they literally end in the words A, in the letters AY, like the word gay. If you've heard of a day, it's gay.
sanctioned by Disney. Also, it started before Gay Night and 15 years before Iger became CEO. It's kind of impressive how wrong this was. He's giving fucking Disney credit for the actions of independent queer people. It really downplays the work that people put into organizing stuff like Gay Days. It's super disappointing, honestly. The first official Disney Pride Night happened this year, 3 years after he made this video. That's how far off the mark he was on this. Whenever I saw another Summerton video in the wild, I'd give it another shot and quickly have to give up again. In his Yuri on Ice video, he claimed the show never went into explicitly gay territory because it aired early in the evening on Japanese television, and there's a law on the books preventing showing homosexuality that early.
Japan has certain laws, such as what time of night a queer-centric show can actually be aired on TV. This show was slated for an earlier time slot in the night because it's first and foremost a sports anime. In order for the quiet part to be as loud as the creator wanted, it would have to have had a much later time slot than the network wanted.
This is a common myth made up by Western fans of the show to explain why it wasn't gayer. They wanted to, but it was illegal. How convenient. But that law doesn't work that way, and even if it did, Yuri on Ice aired at 2:30 AM in the morning, the gay witching hour. They could do whatever they wanted.
But that's really early in the morning, so it's even less gay. Technically, it is still Tuesday, so I should do Tanky Tuesday, but I'm doing Keb Therapy Tuesday, where I watch a thing I wanted to watch. That's literally what's happening here. Deal with it.
But now I see people continuing to spread this lie, linking Summerton's video as proof it's true. James is helping to reinforce misinformation by not checking whatever he hears on Twitter before he spreads it, which is a bit concerning. Basically, I can't really watch James's videos because I care a lot about the stuff he talks about, and I can tell he's not really checked what he's saying, and that really gets to me. Normally in this situation, I would just not watch his videos and live my life, but over the last couple of years, Summerton has been...
How does H-Bomber Guy watch anything on YouTube? I assume people aren't checking. I assume they don't really know what they're talking about. And I deal with it from that perspective. What? Is he expecting well, thoroughly researched, good content on YouTube? Because he won't find much of it. Except on maybe his own channel, I guess. You know. H-Bomber Guy is recorded. Also, H-Bomber Guy looks like Jesse Pinkman. It's not relevant to anything, but it is also still true.
And repeatedly accused of plagiarism. In response, Summerton has claimed he never ripped off anyone, and the times he did weren't even that bad anyway.
If I had been plagiarizing videos, I wouldn't have a channel. I would be called out all the time by people saying he stole my shit. But I don't plagiarize.
Is this guy Canadian? Can I ask? Because he did kind of just say oot. So is he Canadian? Because that does change things in my mind. And not in a good way. I only play in Canada.
The one time that there actually was plagiarism, it was by mistake, and I fixed it immediately. And it is no longer in my video. And the other two
You
accusations...
see, Canadians, I didn't even know he was Canadian. All Canadians do this thing, right? This absolute fucking cope. Canuck cope, if you will, right? Well, they'll say, we don't even say oot, actually. We say oot, without realising that they've said oot instead of saying out, right? And I didn't even know this guy was Canadian. And I worked that out. I didn't see his passport. I didn't fucking need to. I heard him say oot. And that was enough. So, Canadians, chill, okay? You do say oot. It is funny. Just come to terms with it.
One was silly.
That's an interesting way of saying you didn't do it.
When 3 or 4 separate videos have 3 or 4 separate plagiarism controversies attached. There's not 3 or 4.
Somerton is telling the truth here. There are not 3 or 4 accusations. Whenever these allegations are brought up,
There are a million.
however, a fan of his will normally pop up to accuse them of harassing a gay man and claim this is all part of a deliberate homophobic campaign against a queer creator. And as an open bisexual who knows what the internet is like, I'm vigilant to the possibility the phobes are making a fuss about nothing again to take...
Me too. High five. Me and him are just alike, me and H-Bomber Guy. We also briefly talked when we were briefly friends on Briefly Facebook.
down a fellow gay boy. It does happen, so keeping this possibility in mind, I looked at what he'd been accused of for myself, weighed up all the evidence as objectively as I could,
Also, he
and
looks
it
like
quickly
skinny
became
me.
clear he did do it. He's a massive plagiarist. In fact, there's a bunch of stuff no one else has found yet. He's just convinced his audience to attack people when they notice. And the worst part is, they do it in the name of defending a gay creator, when many of the people he has financially benefited from stealing from are queer themselves. I've never seen anyone try to put together a full explanation of what exactly happened here, because his fans will threaten you into silence for trying, which means there is no solid body of evidence to point to, so James can freely lie about what happened without anyone to contradict him. I'd like to take the opportunity to go through what happened here, so people can see what happened without it being filtered through James and make up their own minds. So, let's clear all this up once and for all, shall we? In July 2020, Somerton uploaded Evil Queens, a queer look at Disney history, a 1 hour and 8-minute video about Disney's relationship with the queer community. This original upload of the video has since been deleted for reasons which will become clear. As the video reached its audience, some viewers began noticing similarities between the video and the book Tinkerbells and Evil Queens by Sean P. Griffin. James opens with a present-day example of Disney being bad about gay content on their platforms, and then says we need to explore Disney's history of doing this. The next 45 minutes are almost word for word taken from Griffin's book.
Fantasy is often described as a method of escape from the trials and tribulations of everyday reality. Living in a society that has outlawed homosexual desire, categorized it as a medical Shmi is constantly at Hook's side, and although Hook is the maniacal master of the relationship, Shmi is obviously his prospects brighten, though, when he overhears of a young man cub who is wandering alone in the jungle. He whispers to himself,
How delightful.
and vows to arrange a rendezvous with the boy.
Most of this video is
Literally word for word. Amazing.
just James reading a book into the camera.
In the number, Ursula uses various methods to convince Ariel to sell her soul, from looking sorry and saint-like to shimmying madly in excitement.
Throughout this video, James uses parts of the book where Griffin quotes someone else. Like here, this is from an essay by Cynthia Erb. James just keeps reading and doesn't tell you he's quoting anyone, and even changes it slightly, almost like he knows it's wrong and is trying to get away with it.
In its use of vocalist Pat Carroll's ability to slide up and down the musical register, from shrieks to baritones, Poor Unfortunate Souls is an unmistakable send-up of the campy female.
Kev should just read Patreon. Not Patreon, what the fuck? Kev should just read wikis next year. That'll get us past the partner push. Okay. Yeah, fuck it, I'll do that. I'll read fanfic. Oh, what? You 255. You are a monster. You're a monster, man. I didn't need this. No one needed this in their eyeballs. I defy anyone to masturbate to that. Honestly. Anyone.
male impersonation numbers of underground queer films in the early days of Hollywood.
When he rips off Griffin quoting more well-known writers like Susan Sontag, he reads them out and puts the quote on screen. It looks like when he thinks he can get away with it, he passes obscure writers' words off as his own. He's already
Challenge
stealing from
accepted. See, now, this is what I love about my community. I said that knowing someone would say that. It's a beautiful thing. I love it. I've come onward. Marcus, we didn't need to know about projectile targets. Not I've come to worse, I've come on worse. All I'll say is you need to up your standards then, I think, a little bit. Because that was like, you might as well have fucked an animal at that point. That's what that looked like. It looked like a fucking deranged goat.
Griffin, why stop there? Somerton reuses a section of the book where Griffin quotes gay journalist and activist Jack Babushio, who passed away of AIDS in 1990.
By the way, can we just take a moment to accept Babushio as one of the greatest names that's ever existed? Babushio. I mean, I like Logan. Logan's a badass name, but Babushio. Oh.
Griffin explains who he is and discusses his quote, mentioning by name repeatedly. You know, the way you quote someone and discuss what they said. Somerton removes all mention and discussion of Babushio, but he still steals everything he says.
And amping up that
Babushio.
depiction to an 11. Camp, by
Yeah, just did a
focusing
Phil
on the
Collins
outward
reference,
appearance
and
and
what?
role, implies that roles, and in particular gender roles, are superficial. A matter of style.
He then skips a few paragraphs, since the book discusses what Babushio meant by this, and that would give away James didn't write it. I didn't even think it was possible, but somehow James managed to steal 2 queer authors' words at once. He copied a book word for word, and even removed mention of the people being quoted so it sounded like he was saying their words too. That's not something you do by mistake. That's something you do when you want to take the credit, which he does. In future videos, James
Yeah, stealing from a dead person's pretty gross. Yeah.
talks about evil queen.
Although stealing from a live person means you're stealing money from them. So, like, is it... I don't even know. It's all gross. Don't steal, like, shit from people. Generally speaking. You know? I mean, definitely appropriate the means of production from rich cunts, but if someone wrote a book, don't just copy it. Which is what the thing that I discuss in my book I've written called The Bible. Yeah, it starts in the beginning. Kev created man, and he saw that it was all right. So he also created a woman in that, and it was they fucked and stuff. It was awesome.
As if it was all his ideas.
But other movies require a bit more digging. In Evil Queens, I talked about the queerness of the 90s Renaissance Disney.
Yeah, and fingering them for hype drones. To be fair, I only finger bad dead people. Okay? I only desecrate the corpses of evil humans when they were alive, so... Partner Push 2024. I'm starting it early. I've given up on 2023.
Movies, especially Aladdin and The Lion King. When I first mentioned this to people, they thought I was crazy. Then I explained it to them, and they came around to seeing it my way.
Kev, stop taking credit for George Santos's work. True. Did you know George Santos was murdered by the Romans and raised on the 3rd day? You pushed the rock out of the way of the fucking cave and everything. It was mad.
And everyone clapped. James claims this video is his work and a weird, bold new approach.
And the entirety of humanity is a doubting Thomas. It's outrageous. What part of your partner are you even pushing? Mainly the prostate, usually.
To media when it's word for word from a 20-year-old book. It's ridiculous. He appears to have found and replaced words like...
That couldn't have been more perfectly timed. I'm going to out pushing my partner's prostate and stiff dick of poop comes up. Beautiful. Thank you, Wayward Historian, for gifting us up to the Vogel. Much love.
Gay and homosexual to queer or LGBT.
Another narrative strand in Disney's films that would have a great appeal to the queer community is the tale of the outside. Labeled it as a sin against God and allowed and often encouraged violent acts against LGBT people, Queer culture has unsurprisingly embraced. Queer culture, particularly gay male culture, has long held a fascination with fantasy. The close association of gay men to the world of fantasy has attributed to some of the most common insults for gay men in Western culture.
Summerton never mentioned the book or its author anywhere. There was nothing in the credits, the description, no citations, no mention of his name.
Fucking mental.
Nothing. When YouTubers use a book as a major source of research, usually they mention it or put it in the background on their set. He did film himself next to a book, but it's not Tinkerbell's. It's Disney War, a commonly cited source in videos covering Disney stuff. He's trying to look like he did research without giving away where he got all the words he's saying. Eventually, a Twitter user who noticed the similarities started comparing the works closely and wrote a thread showcasing hundreds and hundreds of words worth of examples of the video directly copying Griffin's book. She eventually asked him why he didn't credit it, and he responded that he hadn't started crediting source materials yet when he made the video. He then finally added a reference to the book to the description almost 2 months after it had been uploaded.
What? Hang on, sorry. 255. You know, another LGBTQ plus YouTuber I follow made her own video about this. This video was pretty good, but one part of it I found kind of interesting is she alluded to the fact that some of queer content creators she knows have privately warned her about this guy, but didn't want to say anything publicly. Oh yeah, because he sets people, obviously he sets his fucking audience on people. That's, you know, that's a thing that this guy has done over the course of time. I get that. It's fucking gross. The way big YouTubers deal with shit is really poor sometimes. And I'm not just talking ukulele poor, I'm talking like borderline illegal.
He'd gone with the internet historian method, put an acknowledgement of your theft in the description later and pretend that makes stealing okay. The thread's author thanked him for admitting it, but pointed out adding a line of text to near the bottom of the description is deceptive, considering the sheer amount of writing he copied. It looked like he was trying to get away with it by hiding some text somewhere no one would see. In response, he did the professional adult thing and blocked her and started tweeting vaguely about being wrongly accused of plagiarism, even though he always credits authors in the video description, which is a very funny thing to say when he didn't do that until the person he's currently complaining about pointed out he didn't. In just over a day, James went from saying, "Whoops, I'll put his name in the description, learning as I go, smiley face," to "I always credit authors in video descriptions, fuck off with your accusations." He also made a YouTube community post with the same text as the tweets. However, this turned out to be a Streisand'ian bargain, because people started asking what he was being criticized for. Here's where it gets really interesting. James responded to one of them with a new example. Something like this had already happened before. James had made a video called Unrequited, The History of Queerbaiting, and this video had also been accused of stealing from a documentary called The Celluloid Closet. So this wasn't even the first time he'd been caught doing something like this. The author of the thread noticed this comment and looked at the description of the Unrequited video, and there was a note hidden towards the bottom thanking The Celluloid Closet in a familiarly vague way. Summerton had been caught stealing something before, and he tried to get away with it the same way by hiding something in the description. The comments section was full of people saying thanking the documentary in the description wasn't good enough since he copied a shit ton of it. She then tweeted she was considering comparing The Celluloid Closet and Unrequited side by side like she'd done with Evil Queens. It looks like James saw this tweet and realized someone was about to prove he'd done plagiarism in multiple videos, because suddenly he set both Unrequited and Evil Queens to private so no one could watch them, and made a post announcing this. The thread's author mentioned this happened and included these screenshots of the announcement. Let's put this on a timeline. This tweet came almost exactly 12 hours after saying she was thinking of checking the other video. In her screenshot, the announcement was only 11 hours old. James hid Unrequited within an hour of someone saying they were thinking of checking it for plagiarism. That's not suspect at all. In his post, he explained he was the victim of a targeted harassment campaign, had received death threats, and he hid these videos because he didn't want people who want him dead seeing them.
Oh wow, grim. Hang on, what's the pinned tweet from? Whoever wrote the pinned tweet, I agree. Yes. Also, 255. Do you, when you say you know Council of Geeks, do you mean you know them or you know their work?
In the comments section, he also claimed the thread's author had been harassing and attacking him for the last 48 hours on Twitter, and her followers had been hunting down his home and work addresses. Any harassment or threats Summerton may have received are unconscionable and wrong. I want to clarify right now that if anyone harasses Summerton on my behalf, they are worse than him and will not see the light of heaven. I must underscore, however, the original author
Very condemning Hamas situation going on right now.
was not unnecessarily rude in her criticisms, was straightforward and polite when speaking to James directly, and when he talked about harassment, she was very
fair enough
clear
to
where
it,
she stood
well.
on that as well. Summerton accused her of personally stalking him anyway, and starting a harassment campaign against him, threatening his life and trying to track down his address, with her obscure thread of tweets. The author's account was very small at the time, with less than 150 followers, and barely anyone had seen the thread until Summerton accused it of trying to kill him. Instead of addressing his mistake head-on and holding himself
It's literally that thing of the guy sat on the ground going, "I was murdered," with the two police officers.
accountable, Summerton span a narrative about how the most polite critic he could have possibly gotten was the head of a targeted campaign against him, while
I do condemn harass, yes.
trying to hide the evidence. On the other hand,
Or do I condemn Harris?
And the author of this thread has received a lot of harassment from Summerton's fans over the years, to the point they eventually changed their username and locked their account. You literally can't see these tweets anymore. When I managed to contact her with questions, she asked me to reference her as little as possible because she's afraid of it starting again. Summerton's fans believed they were defending him from someone threatening his life, remember? So they were pretty fucking vicious about it. And that is what he was telling them. When he made a video addressing the plagiarism, he titled it,
I condemn Rolf Harris. To be honest with you, from the charity stream, I think my favourite thing ever was from the Gartic phone. The sentence, "Rolf Harris, chicken drumstick war crimes," will stick with me. I'm glad I got to write that sentence. I'm glad that sentence exists in the ether now. It was a high point of my existence, I think. Or not, but, you know, it was funny.
about those death threats.
Somebody watched my Evil Queens video, my video about Disney, and realized that there are quotes in the video that are directly taken from the book Tinkerbells and Evil Queens. They went ahead and started accusing me of
Technically, there are quotes, as in your entire fucking video is one big massive series of quotes, i.e. the entirety of that book. You just read the book, you fucking twat.
plagiarism. Somebody read their thread and decided to message
I
me
condemn
some death
harass?
threats,
No,
as
I
you
don't.
do on the internet. I think she has something like 154 Twitter followers, something like that, and some of the people of that 154 decided, hey, let's threaten to kill him. But yeah, that's the situation. That's why someone doxed me and threatened to kill me.
He claimed he simply forgot to credit the book, which made up the vast majority of his script.
I'm kind of flighty when a video is done and I'm putting the
Baby
credits
Yoda.
together, so I don't always
Baby
remember
Yoda.
to put everything in the credits. That's kind of been a problem with me in the past. That has happened before.
He then compared his video to serious documentaries and how they're often based on books.
You know, like a lot of documentaries, they're based on books that come out. And so, yes, going forward, I just want you to know my videos may well be based off of books.
Normally you get permission to adapt people's books into documentaries before you make them and release them to the public for money.
Allegedly.
It's really hard not to see this for what it is. A guy making up a series of bad excuses after being caught plagiarizing. Let's just think about this for a second. If James was honestly adapting a book, why would he film himself on his set for an hour sitting next to a different book and not even think to mention the book he's adapting even exists? Summerton went out of his way not to mention his primary source, so people wouldn't read it and realize he copied it.
So yeah, I guess what I'm just trying to say is that, yes, there are quotes in the video and sections of the video that are taken from the book. It's not entirely based off of it. There's, you know, most of what's in the video is my own original content.
How does he explain what he did to the quote from Babushio? He doesn't even try.
And if you don't want to support me anymore because not everything is entirely my original thoughts, then that's fine. So I would never have had the time to do that amount of research for a YouTube video.
This video
Exactly, but that's the point, isn't it? Don't do video essays then. If you don't want to put in that amount of research, don't pass out someone else's fucking research, you cunt. Like, it's such a poor series of shit excuses. It's, oh god, what a dick. It's dickish. It's very, very, it's shit.
and all his YouTube posts about the plagiarism accusations were deleted soon after. I think Somerton realised there was no decent explanation for what he had done, so trying to explain it made him look worse. Instead, he started tweeting that he'd sent the video to the author to ask for permission to put the video up again. He was finally asking permission to do what he already did months ago. I'm curious how he explained all of this to Griffin. It sounds like Griffin asked to be credited properly because the old version of Evil Queens never came back up. Instead, a new one was uploaded. This version is exactly the same as the old one, except it has, based on the book by Sean Griffin, hastily added to the opening credits. In the span of a few days, the video graduated from not acknowledging the book anywhere to using it as a major source of research to finally being based on it. In the years since this happened, Somerton has come up with new lies about it to try to make himself look better. On a recent livestream, someone brought up the old allegations, and his version
Do I think this guy's gonna do a Dave Rubin? Possibly, yeah. I mean, the right will accept any old grifting piece of shit as long as they say the right things about the gays or whatever, so yeah. It's possible.
of the story is that he always had permission from Griffin before he even made the video.
For the Evil Queens one, like I said, that was based directly on the book. That was word for word from the book. And that's why before doing the video, I got permission from the author to do it. But I did have full permission from him before making the video.
The tweet about how he literally had to take the video down and ask permission afterwards is still up. Anyone can fact check this. I want to observe that if this was an honest mistake, James had the opportunity to be honest about it and chose to lie. Looks a bit like a dishonest mistake to me. He also pretends he credited Griffin in the description in the first place, and the person who criticized him simply didn't notice.
In the original version of Evil Queens, the citation was in the description of the video and not in the video itself. And that was the issue. They didn't read the description. And so I took down the video and I put it back up, and somebody didn't acknowledge the based on the book by in the comments, so I took the video down and put it back up with the author in the opening titles.
Again, his reply to her where he acknowledged he hadn't and was going to is still up. For reasons that I don't understand, James likes to tell obvious lies that make him look worse. This is why I felt it was important to make this video.
By the way, just as an update, an addendum to this video, when H-Bomber Guy says, this tweet by James Somerton is still up, I just have to now say, can we get some RIPs in chat ready for James Somerton's Twitter account, which is now gone. James Somerton has now deleted his Twitter account. The last bastion of the scoundrel, i.e. running away when you get caught. Absolute gobshite. His Twitter account is dude.
Video documenting the evidence. Currently, the only version of events people are likely to hear is his. Even if it's easily disproven, who's disproving it? The person who noticed the plagiarism in the first place was threatened into non-existence by his fans, leaving his lies as the last story standing. There's also another reason why I'm not buying the "it was based on a book" excuse.
And then there was a video I made about Disney that was based directly on a book that I got the permission.
George Somerton is the George Santos of YouTube, I guess. But he's not the George Santos of Cameo, because that goes to George Santos, who's doing Cameo very badly.
from the author to make the video.
Let's take that at face value. Okay, so this video is based on this book. Based on it, word for word.
That was word for word from the book.
This is a lie, of course. He changed quotes so it sounds like he's saying them, and altered a bunch of other words to try to make it sound different, but let's pretend it was for a second. Is it possible he really was just trying to adapt the book? James insists this is the case, but at this point, I'm not sure I can trust him when he says things. The author of the thread was just comparing the video to the one book she noticed, and mentions around the 53-minute mark he moves on to stuff not covered widely by the book, like Mulan.
Disney's Mulan is, however unintentionally, a queer narrative.
First of all, it's a little bit weird that his video, word for word adapting the book, stops adapting it and starts winging it partway through. But let me ask you this. Wouldn't it be really fucking bad for him if it turned out he also stole the new stuff from somewhere else? Yeah, it is bad, because he did!
Disney's Mulan is, however unintentionally, a queer narrative that explores both gender identity and sexual orientation. It is not, as it is often...
Fuck's sake.
Stop it. Get some help.
Honestly, Michael, you've never been more correct. He does need to stop it and get some help. Thank you, Eddie... PDX, which yeah, War on Somerton indeed. Thank you. That's 14 months you've been with me. 14 too many in my book. Really, when you think about it. Seek immediate medical help. There's something wrong with you. Non-binary timed out James Somerton for 69 seconds. Reason plagiarism. Was there someone called James Somerton in chat? Or did you just find somebody called James Somerton on Twitch? Oh. Nice.
Often simplistically described, a story about a disempowered woman who becomes empowered by masculinity.
It's almost impressive how hard he leaned into something he knew was a lie people could check. James, what were you thinking? What was your plan here? The section on Mulan is taken from an article at Shondaland by Asian American trans person
You
Jen.
just found a random person. I wonder if it was the real James Somerton. That'd be quite fun. Yeah, it reminds me when someone gifted Bernie Sanders his actual fucking Twitch account a subscription to my channel. Fun times. I presume he's no longer. I presume he didn't keep it going. I've not noticed his name crop up or anything, so I presume he's now not subscribed to me, but it was nice while it lasted. It was also nice while he wasn't supporting fucking genocide in the Middle East, but you know, what are you going to do?
As Tom about how the film speaks to their experience with gender. This section is almost word for word stolen from this article.
Mulan as Ping progressively works their way toward achieving manhood, which is defined by catching fish, carrying heavy things, and of course, wielding a big stick.
He makes a few changes. Since this article is one specific queer trans person writing about how they related to the film, Somerton removes their personal experiences and moves on to the next sentence.
First, in Honor to Us All, the village women attempt to sculpt Mulan into an ideal woman. More specifically, an ideal wife. Mulan fails the test of womanhood when her meeting with the matchmaker goes horribly awry.
Sometimes, though, he keeps the stories in and makes a slight change.
Mulan's gender journey over the course of the movie feels very familiar to many trans and non-binary people.
Jesus! Is he really doing this instead of just crediting the person he got all this from? Well, yeah, he does this repeatedly.
Bernie's all about
Many
the titties.
trans men in particular feel a kinship with Mulan as the character prepares to convince everyone they're a man, practicing their swagger, affecting their voice to a lower register, and scrambling to settle on a boy name.
Somerton doesn't just steal another article when he's done stealing from a book, he deliberately changes it to avoid acknowledging the original author and their experiences, so he...
Imagine Bernie Sanders' play of the dumpster baby abortion clip. Well, imagine if Bernie Sanders had been around, if he'd just kept his subscription going for another 8 months, I would have had to have given Bernie Sanders a post-birth baby Bible abortion, and the world would have been complete. But he decided not to, the selfish prick.
He can pretend he wrote it. Just for the record, I found an article on another website that quotes this article by Tom. Here's how quoting works, James. It's clear who wrote this, and even links to it as well for the reader's convenience. Meanwhile, James just pasted these words into his script and read it out loud like he came up with it.
As Mulan acknowledges this failure
What is it, Clem Fandango? Yes, you can. Obviously you can, yeah.
in Reflection, she poses a question that most trans people know intimately. When will my reflection show who I am inside?
It goes without saying you shouldn't just take stuff and reuse it without crediting them. Write your own videos, man! Well, maybe he shouldn't do that either, because if you've been paying attention, which you have, you notice this is the video where James said gay night was Lord Disney's brilliant idea because he loves gays so much. Is this part stolen? Well, kind of, yeah. Griffin's book correctly explains the gay night situation. The part where James talks about this is in a brief section that appears to be written by him, connecting the parts written by Griffin and Jez Tom. We're graced with a whole minute and 30 seconds actually written by James. How nice of him. It seems like when writing his own new section to connect the two writers he stole, he wrote a half-remembered story about gay nights he got from the same book. So the part of the video that was technically his was full of obvious mistakes. This is, well, it's not a good sign. There's a bit of a theme developing. These guys don't know their history. They're copying it without really learning it. So when they try to be unique, they have nothing to say, and none of what they say is accurate. Around the time he re-uploaded Evil Queens, acknowledging one of the people he plagiarized, Summerton also unprivated the queerbaiting video, with what seemed to be no changes, except an acknowledgement at the top saying the stolen portion is based on the Celluloid Closet and its documentary counterpart. Before the video went down, the description didn't look like this. It just had a special thanks hidden at the bottom. So while it was down, he'd changed it. Looks like he settled on using based on as an excuse for stealing things when he's caught. I guess we should take a look at exactly how based on it is. The Celluloid Closet is a documentary
Well, it's certainly not very based, if you ask me.
about the portrayal of homosexuality across the history of Hollywood, with plenty of interviews with film historians, writers, directors, and actors. The structure and narrative is based on the book of the same name by Vito Russo, who passed away from complications of AIDS before the documentary could be made. The first 30 minutes of Unrequited is just the Celluloid Closet. James Illuminati'd it. He downloaded a copy of the documentary, loosely paraphrased it, and as footage for the video he uses the same clips the documentary used of the movies it talked about. He also reuses the more pivotal interviews, adding his own titles so it looks like he got them from somewhere else. James wants to pretend to be a scholar of film history, when in fact he watched a documentary and is now pretending it's his. He never credits the documentary as a source when he's doing this. He even pulls
culture. And in this culture, they come especially from the movies. So we learn from the movies what it means to be a man or a woman, what it means to have sexuality. Richard Dreyer, film historian.
It's actually Richard Dyer. Would you like to know how I know that?
Your ideas about who you are don't just come from inside you, they come from the culture. And in this culture, they come especially from the movies.
He's still losing loads of subscribers all the time. Oh, that's delightful. Since this video came out, he's lost, 40,000? More? Nearly 50,000? No, over 50,000. Oof. Ouchie poos. Let's go to the live. 280. Oh, it's going down all the time. I tell you what we'll do. We'll keep a live tracker on it, I think. We'll keep a cheeky live tracker on that. Hang on.
He has his own special spin on this trick, too.
The lesbian experience isn't really expressed in the film at all, and even Shirley MacLaine has gone on record in 1996 saying William Wyler, the director, never even spoke to her about the lesbian elements.
What he's neglecting to mention is the place MacLaine went on record in 1996 is the Celluloid Closet.
At the time that we made the picture, there were not real discussions about homosexuality. None of us were really aware.
James is dimly aware what he's doing is shit, so he's taking baby steps to avoid it. Without solving the actual problem, he's remaking a documentary using their ideas and footage.
Gore Vidal, screenwriter of the film, said this in 1996.
Let's say that these two guys, when they were 15, 16, when they last saw each other, They had been lovers, and now they're meeting again, and the Roman wants to start it up.
He's flipped the footage and added weird filters to try to avoid triggering the YouTube bots, which correctly would flag this video as just large chunks of a copyrighted documentary. I doubt he's even seen many of the films he's talking about here. He's just showing clips from the documentary, quoting the documentary, or straight up repeating what it said himself.
Homosexuality is a thing. It does exist, but it's not something good moral people should talk about.
Homosexuality was finally being talked about on the screen, but only as something that nice people didn't talk about.
I know a lot of documentaries are based on books, but not a lot of them are based on other documentaries someone already made, James. Celluloid Closet ends with a heartfelt acknowledgement of Vito Russo, the book's late author. James's video, which takes pains to tell you was written, filmed, and edited by James Somerton, also ends by saying it is in memory of Vito Russo. This one line of text is the only acknowledgement of Russo or the documentary in this entire fucking video. For those keeping track, this is the second gay writer and activist who tragically passed away of AIDS in 1990, whose words James has passed off as his own.
Just from 1990? Wow.
There were obviously comments on the video pointing out he's just remade a documentary for 30 minutes, and James's reply was to insist it was impossible not to plagiarize the Celluloid Closet, because it's such a good history lesson. This is his main defense when this comes up. Of course it's derivative. It's the only place I could get information on the topic, which implies James has not engaged with the last 65 years of writing about gay people in the film industry. He also claims he hasn't simply posted it as his own, even though he'd never acknowledged the documentary until someone caught him, and then had to sneak one into the description. If he wanted to pay respect to his main source, he could have said, in this documentary, instead of in 1996, but I won't say where. But in this reply, he says something very funny. He insists he expanded on some of the ideas in this section, implying he did some of his own work. One thing did stick out to me as new. The documentary covers Rebel Without a Cause, but not for very long. When James talks about it, he goes on for longer, in ways that aren't paraphrasing the documentary for once. So this must be the new section. All that original work that proves he didn't just rip off a documentary. Wouldn't it be really fucking funny if it turned out he stole this part too? Oh, you bet your ass he did!
Dean's character, Jim, is a teenager kicking against authority and parental neglect, who becomes both friend and fascination to Minio's Plato, a lonely younger kid.
Despite being based on an existing documentary, Somerton takes a break in the middle to steal from someone else. He stole Peter Howell's article on Rebel word for word, not even trying to cover it up with find and replacing text this time.
If you don't pick up on that from the photo of hunky Alan Ladd that Plato has taped inside of his locker, or the looks of adoration he gives Jim, it becomes abundantly clear when he makes a coded declaration of love to Jim late in the film.
It's not like I lifted it and posted it as my own, my foot. He changes one thing. The current date.
Plato is obviously gay, although it's easier to say that in 2020 than it...
I've just been accurate. It's a different year now. It's just been accurate. Oh, the YouTube video is constantly skipping, is it? Would you mean my stream of the YouTube or the actual this YouTube video? You know, let me see. It's not giving me any. It's not telling me anything. It's not giving me any other vibes about it. It's fine for me. See, well, maybe it's your internet connection then. It's literally all I can say.
It was in 1955.
Peter Howell, whose shit he jacked, is not acknowledged in the video or the description or anywhere else and never has been. Like with Jez Tom, this section was never caught, until now, so he hasn't had the chance to go back and pretend it's based on it. It starts to feel like Somerton is just an extremely cynical loser with a business degree who, like Blair, and around the same time even, saw the success of video essays and decided to half-ass his way into them by stealing shit. This is on the whole how business people see creativity. They don't respect it. It doesn't matter. It's beneath them. So they can take it and say it's theirs if they want. But at this point, my interest was fully peaqueed. I was just looking at the original allegations to see if they were true, to check for myself. But even in just looking at those two, I found 2 more places he stole from that other people hadn't even found yet. And if it was that easy to find more, how deep does this rabbit hole go? These videos were made over 2 years ago. Did James learn his lesson from being repeatedly caught plagiarizing and at least stop? Well, his next video, Society and Queer Horror, has a script supervisor in the opening credits, and this person would go on to be his co-writer for many future videos. That doesn't necessarily mean the videos are better though. I mean, first of all, that's not how you spell supervisor, so write that down. But he even has another
Also, yes, hello there, Mouselander. Everyone go and follow Mouselander immediately.
writer now, so surely he started making his own original videos and things got better? Well, things got much, much worse. Society and Queer Horror, or as the video calls itself, Deep Cuts, Society and Queer Horror, steals so many words from so many writers it genuinely makes me think I've traveled to an alternate dimension where plagiarism is fine!
4 girls end up in the same school and find each other essentially by cruising the hallways. Given Carrie's simultaneous status as horror film victim and monster, alongside the narrative concerning her burgeoning sexuality and attraction to boys, or when Ripley asserts authority in the team after Dallas is caught by the alien, Ash, the male robot, feels threatened and attempts to dominate Ripley, regain his masculinity. It's fun, messy, mean, sad, campy, and self-aware. That's the key variable that makes Hellraiser so special.
I can't show you how messed up this is without ruining this video's runtime even more than I already have. So let's use visuals. Here's a transcript of all the words James says in this hour and 25-minute long video. And here's all the parts that are plagiarized. Each author's name is in a different color for convenience. This video steals...
Oh, Jesus Christ, that's a lot of names, man.
Roughly 10,000 words from 18 different places. And this is just the stuff I found. There could be more. A truly staggering portion of this video is James staring into his prompter, reading words he got by Googling movie name gay. I wish I could show you everything he copied.
Movie name gay.
We'd be here forever. This is just one video, and he makes so many of these. And now we know how! But Somerton thinks he's figured out a loophole. It's a familiar spin on an old classic. It opens with a horror-themed credits sequence, which claims the video is based on the works of, and briefly shows a bunch of names. These are some of the people he plagiarized. So if any of his plagiarism is noticed, he can say, no, I name-dropped them in the opening for literally 1 second. So it's fine! This is the stupidest thing I've ever... Anyone watching this video would assume this is Somerton showing his sources, or people whose work he read while writing the video, not people whose writing is the video. Based on the works of Colin...
Yeah, this would get thrown out in a fucking high school. This is madness. 255 with a very pertinent and relevant question. When was the last time you ate fish and chips? I don't know. I don't really have fish and chips very often. It's one of the few unhealthy foods I don't eat very regularly. Probably, I don't know, several months ago, I would think. But thank you, 255, for keeping it very much on topic tonight. You have been a delight.
Arison. What does this mean? There's no way of knowing what Colin's contribution to the video was. Does this mean he inspired a section? That he gets quoted?
There's a movie named Gay. All movies are gay. Every movie that's ever been made is gay. If it claims to be not gay, that means it's even gayer.
James read him and used some of those ideas? This mention means 21 minutes into the video, the next 5 full minutes are word for word copied from an essay he wrote.
Benshoff recognizes Hellraiser for some of its visual characteristics, but comes to the conclusion that too often the representation of Barker's monster queers seems similar to those produced by right-wing ideologues.
I don't think I need to tell you, this is just plagiarism with an even stranger excuse than normal. Somerton never tells you when he's just reading other people's work.
Even Schindler's List. You know what? I'm not touching that fucking question. Have that to yourself.
words, because then people would know he didn't write anything. He's hidden their name at the beginning and in the end credits at the very bottom, after a long list of patrons, so he can make a video out of other people's words without ever saying when he's actually doing it. 4 minutes is just Andrew Park's article about the film The Craft, with slight changes to try to hide it, and his usual LGBT to queer word swapping.
The film follows the story of 4 teenage girls who each grow up feeling different in one way or another. Special, and above the fray of their peers, or rejected by them entirely, as so many queer teens have experienced. The most memorable character, by all accounts, is Nancy, and she's already out as a witch, openly practicing the craft. She wears goth lipstick and black, laced-up Stevie Nicks boots. She has a sexual history and a noose hanging in her locker. Bonnie is a girl with self-image issues due to scars that cover her arms and back.
Swapping back and arms to arms and back doesn't work. We can still tell.
Chris, your typical teenage movie football jock, persists in making bullying
If you just stay still, they can't see you. So all gays and T-Rexes are very similar in that respect. Also small arms. So.
Comments about the 3 spiritual deviants, who he calls the bitches of Eastwick, because he's just so clever.
Wow, what a great addition, Jimmy. You really spiced up that anecdote, made it your own, put your fucking spin on it. Oh well, this is a bit skeevy, but at least Park's name is in the credits, so people can at least see his name and check him out. No, he's not in the credits. Half the people James plagiarized in this video didn't make it in, he forgot. This whole "it wasn't plagiarism, I said it was based on them at the start" excuse really doesn't work when you forget to put half their fucking names in. My personal theory is James came up with this phony excuse during the Evil Queen's fiasco when he was already making this video, so when he made this list, he'd already forgotten half the people he plagiarized. The segment about aliens is completely taken from Bart Bishop's essay Queering James Cameron's Aliens.
Aliens is curiously progressive in its sexual politics overall, especially for a movie released during the Reagan years. Take, for instance, the exchange between Hudson and Frost. This isn't just queer behavior being portrayed in a positive manner, but one of the many ways that the movie obfuscates gender and supports a pansexual ethos.
My favorite part is when he reuses an extremely long quote from author David Greven, along with Bishop's exact commentary on it, with a very slight change.
David Greven in Demeter and Persephone in Space observes, Bishop, the cyborg, Greven further suggests that the aliens, and especially the alien queen, represent a cisgendered heteronormative status quo that resents the changing times.
What this video really makes me think, actually, well, there are lots of things, but one thing especially, is that there are lazy pricks like this who make it too obvious, but there are probably loads of reasonably big YouTubers who swap things around enough that they don't get it's not so obvious. They actually do reword things and like change the order in which the different sections occur to the point where people don't catch on. Because you probably don't have to put that much effort into it, do you? You have to put a bit in, obviously, but nowhere near as much as actually writing the original. So there probably are quite a few who just put a bit more effort into it and are a bit smarter about it and can write a bit. They get away with that shit, I'm sure.
So while Greven suggests that the conservative alien queen has contempt for the queer family dynamic, the metaphor could go even further. Cameron creates a future where gender norms have all but disappeared.
He changed "I'd go even further" to "the metaphor could go even further," suggesting he is at least uncomfortable using someone else's words in first person. The copying of Bishop's Aliens essay was eventually pointed out on his website. Bishop responded calling this very strange. Bishop also made a Facebook post about being plagiarized, which is disheartening to read. This situation demonstrates perfectly the way respect and social status factor into stealing. James fundamentally doesn't respect the people he's copying. He knows to quote people when they're well known, but when he thinks he can get away with it, he doesn't. A lot of queer analysis is sadly unrecognized, and James exploited this obscurity for clout and hid a little excuse where people will miss it, but only for about half of them. As with several previous authors, Bishop was not credited. However, the video's credits do contain David Greven, one of the authors Bishop quoted. At first I thought Greven was in the credits because he quotes him by name in this section, but no, he's in here because he also stole from Grevin.
In terms as resonant as they were phobic, Scream was a cry of despair over an apparent amorality in the millennial or late Gen X youth, especially in the male population. The homoeroticism of the Billy Stu relationship, which the film develops into an all but explicit queer love affair, shows both the unpredictable, anarchic, bewildering behavior of the generation and the shifts in male gender roles synonymous with it.
By complete coincidence, the competent writers he's plagiarizing are familiar with each other's work and sometimes even quote each other. Grevin doesn't actually come up by name when James reads his words out loud for 5.5 fucking minutes. The authors James steals only get their name mentioned in the video if someone else he was stealing happened to mention them. I'm losing my fucking mind! When he quotes Bishop quoting Grevin, he puts this text up like he's quoting them. However, like Illuminati, he doesn't list the source in any useful way.
Like
this is because he doesn't know the source. He got it from this article, and he can't list the article as a source because he doesn't want you checking and finding out what he's done. It's the same reason he didn't film himself next to evil queens. He'd be giving the game away. Ironically, this is how the Bishop plagiarism was discovered in the first place. Someone was trying to find the source of one of these quotes and Googled it and discovered the whole segment was a quote. Somerton's videos are anti-educational. They go out of their way to hide where they come from or where to learn more. But this gives me an idea for a hot new game. Go to a random section of Somerton's video and just Google the words he's saying. Okay, I'm gonna literally click on a random part of the video right now. I'm gonna hold my mouse up to the microphone so you can hear it.
Dedicates an entire subplot to the romance between Richie and Eddie.
Okay. And here we go. One result! Well, that was easy!
It, by Stephen King, was published in 1986 and has made a last...
Amazing.
cultural impression. The novel inspired a miniseries, 2 movies, and ruined clowns for generations of children. And adults, frankly.
Oh, good one. This one isn't an...
Well, true, but I mean, also clowns were always shit. I don't know how anyone ever thought that clowns were funny. How did they ever get that association? They're like the least funny creatures ever. It's fucking heartbreaking. It's not even scary, it's just soul destroying. They've got painted on smiles. I can't think of a better analogy for the fakeness of the circus. The paint hiding the fucking pain. Jesus Christ.
Analysis of Stephen King's It by Rachel Brands. He reads this article for about 4.5 minutes. And Brands is one of many people whose name didn't make it into his dumb fucking credits. I reached out to Brands about her essay being used in this manner, and she told me she'd never been asked permission to use it, but she already knew it happened. You see, she was a fan of Somerton's work, and even supported him financially on Patreon, so she saw this video as soon as it went out, and realized it was copying her. This is so fucked up. A queer writer who supported James financially because she thought he was making original work discovered she was funding the plagiarism of work like hers, including literally hers. Brands was never paid.
Fucking hell. That's a punch to the gut, isn't it? Oof. Oofa doofa.
By the website she wrote this essay for, since at the time she was writing for Exposure, which she definitely didn't get when James didn't even fucking credit her. Somerton makes a lot of money doing this. Tens of thousands of dollars in Patreon income, ad revenue, his many sponsorships, and another massive payday we haven't even gotten to yet. Brands has never been compensated for her contribution to James's financial success.
Don't forget, if you want me to get that kind of financial success from the incredibly original and fantastic work that I do, you can do bits messages. 200 bits or more will get you text-to-speech. You can subscribe. You can subscribe with Amazon Prime. You can give subs to the community. These are all things that you can do. Because I am assuredly not earning tens of thousands of dollars. I'm barely earning tens of dollars.
And she's not the only person James plagiarized in the section on Stephen King's It alone. After reading Brands without crediting her for almost 5 minutes, suddenly he starts saying new words.
Childhood trauma looms under the skin of the Losers Club well into adulthood.
Thank you, Sundry Clowncar, for gifting a subscription to Scathchat73. Much love.
Wow, did James write part of his video all by himself? Nope. It's from The Hollywood Reporter. We've seen this song and dance before. It goes on for ages. I'm just going to highlight one of the parts he changed because it's so funny.
Like every person on the planet, the losers remain trapped in their trauma. They've just found new ways to cope.
Here you go,
Richie
laughing
ended up
face.
telling jokes and becoming rich and successful. But always alone.
Summerton specifically removed mention of a character finding success using other people's material.
Well, yeah, because that's just game respecting game. He's not going to quote that shit. It's a beautiful thing. Thank you, main captain, with 200 bitty bits. We are on a hype train. You can do subs and bits if you want to make the hype train go choo-choo. If you do, I will finger the corpse of James Summerton's career if we get to level 2 of the hype train, okay? I will take the corpse of James Summerton's career because it is officially dude at this point, right? Very dude. And I will insert my fingers into its dead bumhole. Fact.
Probably hit a bit too close to home, huh?
The plagiarism thing, it's not a thing.
After several minutes of stealing Joelle Monique's article, the video still has a bunch of runtime left to talk about it.
It is the hate that's unnatural. The hate that is evil.
Oh, for fuck!
When we get into the head of Don Haggerty, Adrian's boyfriend, and the author lets the reader know him, he's sympathetic. He's smart and loving.
He's smart.
He also sees the town
Never
for what it
too
is.
soon for a kitty bonk.
Fucking true. Thank you for Wayward Historians 1066 Battle of Hastings bitties. It is too soon. That man got a fucking arrow in the eye. You have some respect. You put some respect on his retina.
Sees its evil clearly and
Also,
wants
thank
to
you.
lead it.
The entire 12-minute long It section is copied from 3 different articles, back to back to back, and only one of the 3 authors is even in these shitty credits. Summerton didn't thank Brands or Monique for the articles about Stephen King's It he stole for money. He did, however, take the opportunity to thank Stephen King! I love it when small indie writers finally get the acknowledgement they deserve. It boggles my tiny mind just how much every tiny thing is stolen in this video. He really briefly, like for 30 seconds, discusses the appeal of witchcraft to...
I'll be honest with you, 255. I couldn't give a fuck about clowns. I don't care. Okay? I don't care. It was definitely not Cupid sending love. It was a French archer trying to murderize them all. And succeeding. You've definitely stolen jokes from me before. No, I haven't. My name's also Fogel, so shut up.
To queer people, and he steals an article for that too!
Witchcraft, on the other hand, offered a spiritual space where queer people could step into their personal power and explore otherness without shame, guilt, or fear. Furthermore, the idea of a coven creates a space for community.
Based on the works of whoever wrote this sentence. Of the 18 authors I found him stealing from, only 9 of them make it into the opening or closing based on credits. So at least half the people he copied didn't even get a bullshit credit. And that's just what I found. I'm pretty sure I missed some. Maybe he reworded some parts better than others, so it's harder to check. But after seeing how much shit he stole for this video, I have no doubt the blank spaces are just someone else I missed. After this video came out, I think he decided he'd gotten away with it, so he stopped using the based on the works of excuse and just went right back to stealing shit.
Well, clearly okay, a number of issues with your question there, Fogel. Firstly, I don't know that Brits is an appropriate descriptor for the people of these islands at the time. We'll get into it. Actually, no, we won't, but it's not really appropriate. Secondly, we clearly didn't have all of the archers because literally the king was shot in the eye with an arrow. Or possibly into somewhere in his upper body. Whether it actually went into his eye or whether that's an embellishment later on, who knows. But he was certainly shot by an arrow, so... I mean, unless the wind took it backwards somehow. Yeah, the French had some peeps. Clown bitch. What is this?
Get ready for a new look, new rhythm and
Okay, I'm never playing a Link from You again. That's it, Phantom. You've lost your immediate Link playing thingamajig. It's never happening. You need to re-earn the trust for sending me whatever the fuck that was. Also, thank you, Boy Bacon Man, for gifting 200 bitty bits. Much love. We are on level 2, so I'm going to have to actually, has his career's corpse been buried yet? Do you reckon I could sneak down to the YouTube morgue and do my my knuckling there?
Here's one of his next videos, Code Breakers, Queer Film Theory and Why It Matters. This video's opening credits are just James, and the description thanks no one, but it's still full of plagiarism. Replacing the queer agenda with a straight agenda does not mean there is not an agenda. Zinc, hero of YouTube, loved this line by Summerton so much. What am I willing to bet he stole this line too? Place your bets! Directly into my pocket, because yeah, obviously, you fucking piece of shit!
It also bears mentioning that if a filmmaker doesn't choose to queer history, that doesn't mean they're telling history like it was. It just means they're straighting history. Replacing the gay agenda with a straight agenda...
Yeah, the Rickrolling was... Yeah, that's not a thing anymore. We will not be tolerating that.
That does not mean that there's no agenda.
Summerton's fans praise him for the quality of his writing, unaware it's not his. Since the true authors' names have been erased from the story, they are prevented from learning who they actually enjoyed and being able to go read more. I find this genuinely sad. James, how do you manage to churn out so many high-quality videos so frequently? I know how. At one point, he starts.
I know how too. Thank you, everyone, for the successful hype train. I've got a career to go and finger. Let's do this.
Explaining basic film theory. Not basic by nerd standards. I mean, it's like he's just reading Wikipedia. Actually, not like.
Today, there are many different schools of film theory. So let's talk about them. The structuralist film theory emphasizes how films convey meaning through the use of codes and conventions, not dissimilar to the way languages are used to construct meaning in communication. An example of this is understanding how the simple combination...
Oh, he's plagiarizing Wikipedia. You know that very, very niche and obscure thing called Wikipedia? Yeah, he's just going to rip off fucking Wikipedia.
Of shots can create an additional idea. The blank expression on a person's face, an appetizing meal, and then back to the person's face.
Hello, Bink Princess, how are you?
While nothing in this sequence literally expresses hunger or desire, the juxtaposition of the images convey that meaning to the audience. Marxist film theory is one of the oldest forms of film theory. Sergei Eisenstein and many other Soviet filmmakers in the 1920s expressed...
By the way, talking about Marx, as they kind of were there, I don't know if anyone's seen the new ERB. Hello. New ERB. Henry Ford versus Karl Marx. I think I know what I'm opening tomorrow's show with Christie. Let's fucking go.
Ideas of Marxism through film. In fact, the Hegelian dialectic was considered best displayed in film editing through the development of the montage, a Russian invention. Eisenstein's solution was to shun narrative structure by eliminating the individual protagonist in favor of telling stories where the action is moved by a group, and the story is told through a clash of one image against the next, whether in composition, motion, or idea. Formalist film theory is a theory of film study that is focused on the formal or technical elements of a film, i.e. the lighting, scoring, sound, set design, use of color, shot composition, and editing. It's a major theory of film study today. Formalism, at its most general, considers the synthesis or lack of synthesis of the multiple elements of film production, and the effects, emotional and intellectual, of that synthesis and of the individual elements. For example, let's take the single element of editing. A formalist might...
Jesus fucking Christ, he's still going. How? Thank you, Wayward Historian, for gifting us up to Bink Princess. Much love.
Study how standard Hollywood continuity editing creates a more comforting effect, and non-continuity or jump cut editing might become more disconcerting or volatile.
Cringe. There's no other word for it. This makes me cringe. It's embarrassing. It speaks volumes
It
what
is
James
very
thinks of video essays as a format. To him, reading Wikipedia is equivalent to what everyone else is doing. I don't know why you would make videos like this unless you were just in it for the money. Where's the joy of doing your own research, your own learning, and getting to share it in your own way?
And there's clout. It's not just money, I think. It's clout. There's no doubt that, I mean, look, whatever tiny amount of success I've had, there is something genuinely nice about people giving a fuck, paying you attention, thinking that you're a worthwhile individual, whatever, right? There's a lot of that. And if you get up to a big standard, look, was at nearly 300,000 subscribers, right? Or was over 300,000 subscribers, I should say, until a few days ago. You know, things happen. Life comes at you fast, does it not? And it can be very validating to have people sort of big you up, as much as you play the whole like, look, I'm not really here for validation is the exact word. Yeah, Sarah wants a cookie. I'm not here for the validation. Yeah, look, I'm just I'm a humble little small boy. Okay, I'm a little sleepy, eepy little small boy. It's fine, you know what I mean? You do all that bollocks, but also it's quite nice. So it's not just money. It's like it's a significant boost to one's ego. So even though you're, in this case of James Somerton, completely undeserving of it, the mental gymnastics that you can do to say, actually, no, I do deserve this, actually, even when you know in your heart of hearts you're stealing other people's work, you can do that. There are all kinds of psychopaths who say to themselves that they've been killing people because it's for the good of something or other, you know? The brain is a very, very easily fooled thing, unfortunately.
Way. These videos are a cash grab with absolutely zero original thought or soul. I didn't think YouTube videos could have souls, but now I've experienced ones that don't. The end credits don't thank any of the people or wikis who wrote this video, just James and his co-writer Nick. Oh, and he thanks all his patrons who give him thousands of dollars to read Wikipedia to them without telling them. And this puts us onto a related problem.
Oh, that's what you were referring to earlier when you said I should just read Wikipedia next year and get past the partner push. Yeah, okay. Now it makes sense. Now it makes sense. Yes. Fair.
His videos. This might be obvious, but James is a little bit lazy. In Codebreakers, in between the rest of the stealing, he brings up the potential gay overtones in Legend of Korra between Prince Wu and Mako.
Mako's Will They Won't They with Prince Wu.
But I thought the clips from Avatar looked a bit blurry for a video from 2020 when much higher quality sources were available. Did he just Google an old AMV shipping these two characters and download it and slap it in here? No, that would be ridiculous. Yes, of course he did. It was this one. It took 2 minutes to find. He just added black bars to the top and bottom because he's trying to pretend his shit is cinema. This is probably the laziest moment in video essay history. He's downloading other people's videos to use.
He literally just put the black screen. He didn't even like change the formatting of it. He just put black bars on it
as backing for a voiceover he probably didn't write about characters whose names he can't pronounce. It's like staring into a low bitrate abyss, but it doesn't stare back. James stares back. The phrase, by James Somerton, is doing so much heavy lifting, he probably stole that from fucking Atlas. There's a section where he just reads the Stanford Encyclopedia of Philosophy's explanation of what homosexuality is.
As has been frequently noted, the ancient Greeks did not have terms or concepts that correspond to the contemporary dichotomy of heterosexual and homosexual. Probably the most frequent assumption of sexual orientation, at least by ancient Greek authors, is that people who respond erotically to beauty and years. Furthermore, the issue of what biological sex one is attracted to is the character in Plutarch's Life argues that in general had many parallels to ancient Greeks' understanding of same-sex attraction and sexual issues more generally.
To be fair, there's no, I mean, not for 4 hours, obviously, Fogel, but if you read part of a wiki and that's your jumping off point to look into a different thing, that's fine. I've got no problem with that. That's like, the thing is, Wikipedia in of itself isn't the problem, okay? Like all sources of information, it's what you do with it and how you integrate it into your kind of understanding of the world. Wikipedia in of itself isn't the final be all and end all. Like I did the joke that I only believed that Henry Kissinger was dead when I went to Wikipedia and the is had changed to was, in like he was a statesman, blah 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 blah, right? He was a war fucking criminal cunt. Anyway, but that's a joke, right? It's not an absolute truth or whatever, right? It can still, even with its more modern guardrails, it can still be abused and it can still be incorrect, and the sources aren't always perfect, right? But that's fine. It's, you go to the sources, you use that as an interesting jumping off point, you know, and that for me is fine. I don't got no problem with that. It's when you just use Wikipedia and go, oh, well, that must be true then, and move on. Or you just read out a Wikipedia article as your fucking video script. That's a bit of a piss take.
He looked up
Oh, ALF as in the terrorist group, not ALF the character. Not ALF the, let's be honest with you, furry propaganda. That's what ALF was. ALF was furry propaganda, and I won't have it any other way. It wasn't a kid's show. What it was furs going too fucking far.
sexuality in an encyclopedia and pasted it into his fucking script. Oh my god! The lack of effort is a running theme. James doesn't really care what he's saying and is just googling movie name gay, so the quality of some of the places he's copying are not very good. His coverage of Alien 3 in Society and Queer Horror, yeah, there's more people I didn't show you yet, is taken from the Cracked article, 5 terrible movies with awesome...
Cracked article? Oh my god, 2012. What the fuck is happening?
Hidden meanings. People sometimes compliment James for his fancy opening titles with 3D movement and graphics, but he just bought these. Anyone can. Look, here's the place he got Society and Queer Horror's opening. I bought it. Now it's mine. Whee! The opening of Evil Queens, the highest production...
I love that joke. He went and bought that particular piece of software, or that particular, plugin thing, or whatever the fuck, just to go, look, I bought it too, wee, for a 2-second joke in his 4-hour-long video. That's such a long way to go to fill up such a tiny percentage of a video. I fucking adore it. Oh, fuck me dead. I wonder how much that joke cost. Probably more than it was worth, but ultimately, this video has nearly 5 million views. I think he's doing okay. I think he probably earned his money back. His overheads weren't too steepling, I imagine. Oh.
Production value part of the whole affair is just more stuff he bought. I'm not criticizing him here, this is normal and fine, but it's a little surprising to realize James never did any work of any kind during the video making process. He buys the fancy looking bits and gets the rest from an AMV. Presumably he hired a co-writer so he could stop pretending he does any. But that makes the fact they're still full of plagiarism even more shocking. Kat looked at his video about Jeffrey Dahmer and found about 5 places he plagiarized without even checking too hard.
Thus, the term homosexual overkill served to normalize heterosexuality, even heterosexual serial killers, while pathologizing homosexuality.
Look how much effort he put into rewriting the thing he stole to hide it. His dedication to not coming up with his own ideas is almost creepy. This video was a couple months old when I started looking into James. This is recent, and I can't believe how much he's still stealing. The first words in the fucking video are stolen.
We all like true crime. It's very suddenly become one of the most engaging forms of contemporary entertainment.
He's really extruding the original words here. He's put so much work into changing it, it might have been easier to write something from scratch. But this is James we're talking about. He stops putting in the effort after the first few sentences.
Again, both Bundy and Dahmer were serial killers who tortured and murdered dozens of people, whose families are still alive and can see these tweets.
Yeah, thank you. That doesn't make it any better, Phantom of Black. By the way, some context on the song I linked earlier. It's a musical segment from a web cartoon, a fucking weeb cartoon more like, where the twins are competing in the voice-style show about who is the best clown. Okay, but how the fuck was I supposed to tell that? They weren't even dressed as clowns. You just sent me a weird fucking anime song or whatever. How am I supposed to know that?
And posts on TikTok.
He actually copies the previous section of the article right before, but Kat asked me before I play this part to ask you to pay specific attention to the change he makes here.
There is a thirst for Dahmer made apparent on TikTok and Twitter, with hordes of white women droning over how attractive he is.
This change is part of a running theme throughout Somerton's work. Misogyny? In the parts of James's videos that he actually writes himself, or rewrites after stealing, he really doesn't like women.
I didn't want to open this can of worms, but the thesis of the stuff he stole for this video gets completely fucked up by his rants about women being attracted to serial killers. He argues women are only attracted to Dahmer because he killed gay men and not women, which makes...
What the fuck? Are you meant... There is a specific type of woman, usually a heterosexual woman, who is attracted to serial killers. It's got nothing to do with him killing gay people. There are people who have written like weird fucking fanfic sex stories about Jack the Ripper, who only killed women, as far as we're aware. Certainly the canonical Ripper murders are all women. This is fucking madness. What are you talking about? Okay. We're going to go with it. This, unfortunately, is a thing within certain sections of the gay community, where, unfortunately, misogyny is a part of that culture. Rather unfortunately.
Makes it easier for them to ignore.
I wonder if it's a part of the I can fix him. I don't even think it's that. I think there's some people enjoy the idea of the danger involved and they get a thrill off that. I don't think they'd actually enjoy being murdered by Jack the Ripper. It's the idea of it being dangerous, being threatening in some way that they find sexually stimulating. But again, it's not because of the murder of women and it's not because of the murder of gay people. I think it's about danger. Like, this is an unfortunate one to have to go into, but some people enjoy rape play. The idea of it being in a theoretical giving of your power to another person in a kind of sub-dom dynamic type thing, right? Some people enjoy that. Now, it's not that they would want that to actually happen to them in real life. It's the idea of threat and indeed of giving of yourself entirely. That's the thing that, no one's actually literally wants to get killed unless they're actually fucking mental. Which I suppose some of them might be, but most won't be. Also, it's about people thirsting after the actor in the show. Yeah, that's also true, yeah. Like, I've no doubt that fucking people are now thirsting after Robert Oppenheimer because fucking Cillian Murphy played him in the film or whatever. Whereas if you actually look at him, he looks like a fucking prune. The actual man that existed. Also, he did like to fuck. That guy fucked everything.
Or the brutality of his crimes, and if he'd killed women, they wouldn't be so thirsty.
Despite his cannibalism, despite the decades-long erasure of his victims, these women, and mostly teenage girls, are swooning over him. And why not? To our knowledge, Dahmer never killed any teenage girls, or any women at all, so there's a level of disconnection.
Women are attracted to the wrong serial killer, how terrible. But he couldn't stop himself from also complaining about women being into Ted Bundy, who did murder women. He goes off...
We do need more ugly actors. Yeah. I mean, not to pick on the only French actor I can think of, but he is the ugliest man ever to be in a Hollywood film, I think. Gerard Depardieu. We need more Gerard Depardieu's people. Ugly cunts like me, right? Freaks. We need more freaks in Hollywood. Me and Wayne Rooney are right here, and yet Hollywood doesn't give us a call. And not just for the Elephant Man, I mean literally like for normal people. I could play an ugly cunt in a film. Let's go. Isn't Gerard Depardieu a big buddy with Putin or something? I don't know. I wasn't talking about his politics. I was talking about his fucking face. Ugh. The man is pure munt.
Off script from the article he's stealing for that section to complain about it even more.
Navigating the ethics of true crime content is tricky. Critics have begun to question the need for entertainment mediums which fetishize or even sexualize serial killers. In the last 3 years alone, we've seen multiple films about Ted Bundy, with 2 of them coming from Netflix, one of them starring Zac Efron. A whole new generation of girls fell head over heels for the infamous killer, which was a grim remake in itself of the real-life Ted Bundy
probably
trial.
will too,
He had fangirls defending him in the press and even begging to marry him. Netflix's social media team actually begged viewers to stop stanning Bundy.
He added a whole new bit fantasizing about millennial girls' attraction to a serial killer when, like, no, they were attracted to Zac Efron, the famously attractive celebrity actor. This was a stupid tangent to begin with, but now his own video contains examples of women fancying a serial killer who killed women. So his rant about women loving Dahmer because he didn't kill women makes no sense. Really, he just wanted an excuse to complain women see their gay friends as disposable.
Because unfortunately, to this day, many women still see gay men as nothing more than a fancy accessory. Especially teenage girls who lust for the perfect gay best friend. A boy whose sex life is secret, so you never have to hear about it. But he's always there to...
What are you talking about? That's not true. I mean, my forays into queer existence have shown me rather conclusively that women do want to know about those things. That they're a little too forward in wanting to know about those things, frankly. They don't want gay relationships hidden from them. They want, frankly, gory details in a way that is, I'll be honest with you, straight ladies / bi ladies, whatever, it's a bit much. Chill the fuck out a bit. You know what I'm saying? Just be cool.
To tell you...
Or maybe I'm just a bit... I'm not very forward with that. I don't know. Maybe it's more normal for other people. Yeah.
If your boyfriend's being a jerk. Gay men and boys as a purse or a fancy iPhone case. Something to show off, but ultimately something disposable.
What teenage girl did this to you in high school, James? And why are you inserting fanfiction about her into an article you stole instead of going to therapy? This is the only new stuff he wrote. The rest is stolen. This is all he has to say. What the fuck is wrong with this guy? These insecurities...
Yeah, he really is. Again, because he's got no original ideas in his head, this James Somerton chap. He's taking the... I mean, this is... How do I describe this without using the word? You know what? I'm going to use the word, and it's perfectly appropriate because it's the word that gets fucking used, okay? Twitch, do not come at me, TOS, you piece of shit. I'm going to use it once and once only. They are going to use... He's using the trope of the quote-unquote fag hag, I believe is the expression, going back, where you have an ostensibly straight woman who has gay friends and exists and uses them in a quite disposable fashion, right? That's the kind of stereotypical media trope that James has clung on to, and that maybe he has experienced in his life. Maybe he has been in that situation where he is the F to the hag in this situation, right? Maybe he has experienced that. But even so, he has taken that on and universalized that as if that's a thing that all people who experience these media tropes live in. And it's not true. That, I mean, for a start off, the F-hag isn't even really a thing anymore for the most part. Queer culture is so much more a part of mainstream now that it's not some kitsch addition to a straight woman's life. It's just a thing. Queer people are fucking everywhere. They were always everywhere. They were just more fucking hidden in the past. But now they're openly so. And that's a fucking great thing. And it also means that people don't have to be weird and have like a special set of gay friends that they exist with and then they go back to their straight, normal, middle-class life. No, they're everywhere. Society doesn't need that trope anymore. And yet he's acting as if that's the only way that straight women ever interact with gay men. And the fact that he thinks that gives them sexual thrills to think of a gay or a man killing gay men as something pro-woman and therefore gets them off is so mind-numbingly disconnected from reality. I don't even know where to start. But thankfully, we've got a 4-hour video here, so I don't need to start shit.
Affect how he talks about gay women. The videos are continuously punctuated with tangents about how lesbians have it easier than gay men. In one video, he claims gay women historically saw less legal persecution, and his example is made up.
And if you're wondering why this section is so man-centric, this is because the vast majority of legal persecution of early queers was focused on men. In the legal case of Radcliffe Hall, she, in her book The Well of Loneliness, depicted World War I ambulance drivers as being primarily lesbians.
Primarily lesbians. Thank you, Fogel. Much love to you. That's still a thing in Texas, you reckon? Okay, but maybe it's still a thing in some places, yeah. But let's say, I mean, in Britain and seemingly in cosmopolitan America, it's not a thing anymore. But whatever. I don't know. I get really irritated by misogynistic attitudes because he thinks queer, AFAB, and trans non-binary folks have it easy. There's literally corrective rape around the world. Exactly, yeah. No, this guy's... I mean, let's be honest with you. He doesn't have many original thoughts in his head, but anything he does have in his head is either somebody else's idea that's good or his own idea, which is bad. So think of it that way, okay? Just essentially ignore what this prick thinks. Would be probably a generally good rule of thumb.
English courts were really not pleased with this depiction, but women who love women was such an uncomfortable topic for them that they threw her case out of the courts and just let her carry on in her happy life.
They threw their
Over
case
here
out.
in reality, Radcliffe Hall was found guilty of obscenity and all copies of her book were ordered destroyed. He's rewriting history to pretend women had it better. This approach to female queers reaches a territory where he doesn't even accept other people's identities if he has a bone to pick. In one video, while trying to argue queer women have it better than men in Hollywood, he misgenders two showrunners.
So why don't gay men get to represent themselves in media? At least media that's widely accepted by the mainstream. Queer women get to represent themselves, at least sometimes. Look at animated hits like Steven Universe or She-Ra and the Princesses of Power.
Indy Stevenson and Rebecca Sugar are trans-masculine and non-binary, respectively. But for the purposes of James's point, they count as women. And if he really doesn't like something...
Jesus Christ, that's disgusting. That's unbelievable. Imagine passing yourself off as like a queer content creator and a positive ally and then doing some fucked up shit like that. Fuck this guy.
He just assumes a straight woman did it.
The only way I can possibly account for anyone saying that this is straight is a bunch of women and girls who are experiencing the most willful ignorance I've ever seen.
His Yuri on Ice video just guesses anyone who interprets the characters not being gay must be a dumbass woman. He's shockingly committed to this principle. In a video that just came out, he claims he still gets comments on that video from straight women denying the gay anime is gay.
Then again, that video still gets comments
Yeah, that's a
from
fair comparison,
usually straight
255.
women, no
Yeah.
hating, but still, who
Jesus Christ. Just get in the bin, mate. Get in the fucking bin. It is where you belong. You're correct, 255. I think that's a pretty good analogy, yeah. Yeah.
incessantly deny that there's any queerness, coded or otherwise, present in that series.
James, how do you know they're straight or women? Did they all say so in their comment? If you don't like something so you assume a woman wrote it, you're doing misogyny. There really isn't another word for this. It's pretty straightforward. Also, I just went through the last year of comments on that video and none exist that make this accusation. He's lying. He just made up straight women to get mad at. As arbiter of gender, James also gets to decide who's queer and who isn't.
Just made up some women to get madder. Oh, that reminds me, whilst we're on the topic of, like, I don't know, queer stuff and stuff being made up, did we see, I showed you on Friday with Christy the what do you call it, the Lady Ballers, the amazing film that's been put together by, what's his fucking name? Hang on, has it been deleted? Why isn't it on my fuck's sake? Hang on. By the Daily Wire, right? It's just straightforward transphobia. Doesn't make any difference, right? Oh, whoa! Don't whoa! Apologies for that. We are looking at something a little more different. This is the one, right? So Ben Shapiro discusses the making of his fictional film Lady Ballers, which is about the idea of cis men pretending to be trans in order to play women's sport and winning, right? That's the premise of this film.
A fictional film about this topic. Now, to be fair, I think I'd actually suggested to the Crane Boys that they do this as a doc.
Yes.
I originally went to
So he wanted to do a straightforward documentary at first.
them and I said, you guys should like go try out for a bunch of ladies' leagues. And that became not possible because As it turns out, most ladies' leagues don't allow in actual men.
So you made it up. So you literally made up a problem. You realised it doesn't exist. It doesn't actually happen. And you made it up. And you still went with it. So even though in the process of making your film, you found out that the premise of it is bullshit, you still went ahead and did the lie anyway, just to do some transphobia. You fucking gobshite. You piece of trash.
And they weren't willing to go the full distance in terms of what it would require in order to, you know, the actual hormone treatments and everything to play in some of the ladies' leagues. But in any case...
Yeah, because...
A fictional film.
I could have told you this, Ben Shapiro, Ben Jabibos. I could have told you this. There are no men trying to get into women's leagues. That's not a thing that's happening. LeBron James isn't taking hormones for fucking 3 years and calling himself Jemima James or whatever. Fucking, I don't know, whatever. Rebecca James? I don't know. Anyway, in order to go and play in the WNBA. That isn't fucking happening. You made up a problem, you found out it wasn't true, and you still went ahead with the lie. Just going to show you, on the right wing, you don't need to actually tell any kind of truth. You don't have to have anything, any point. You can just make up any old shit. You can make up any old shit. I was thinking of James as a name, but James is his surname. So Jemima wasn't appropriate. And then I couldn't think of one with L. So it could have been like Louise. Or Letitia. Yeah, those all worked. I wasn't doing an Aunt Jemima bit. I wasn't taking the piss. I mean, I was trying to think of James as a woman's name. But James is his surname, so that wouldn't make any fucking sense anyway. Anyway, you get the idea. It's not a problem, and they're trying to make it a problem.
I don't know who gave him this power, but it means he has a lot of fascinating opinions about Love, Simon. The film is based on a book by Becky Albertalli, a bisexual woman who was not public about her sexuality.
Too late, cancelled. You know what? Fair enough. I expect my article in a daily newspaper. I expect at least one outing on Fox News, naturally. I expect a documentary and then maybe a book deal, you know? Because I have been cancelled by the left, so...
When the book was published. Albertalli was subsequently harassed for years, accused of writing a book about being gay without being queer herself and being a straight woman profiting off the queer community. In 2020, she came out publicly, with a quite powerful essay about how she was doing it specifically because of this type of shit. This event hopefully serves as a lesson not to make assumptions of people's sexuality and then write criticism based on those assumptions. But James didn't get the memo. In 2022, he managed to write a video complaining that many stories about gay people are written by straight women and used Love, Simon as the only example.
Because their life experiences did not match the experiences about gayness set by straight women with a kawaii idea of two gay people. You have mass consumption media, which takes gay emotions and removes gay experiences, leaving a husk of empty gestures and unanswered questions, which feels more like a
This was from a film directed by a gay
addiction than even implied representation.
James was years late to the party and still accused the openly bi author of being a straight pandering to the gays. I'd say I wonder what Becky Albertalli thinks about this, but I know what she thinks because she left a comment on his video explaining how...
Oh, let's have a read. I don't typically comment directly on videos like this, but since accuracy and nuance seem to matter to you, I'll say this. Firstly, Becky, you've already got that one wrong, I think, but let's by the by. Your video heavily implies that Love, Simon was written and created by straight people, despite the involvement of countless queer people, most notably the director, Greg Berlanti. I wrote the book the film was adapted from, and I'm not straight. I was, however, overtly harassed and interrogated about my identity for years by people who felt like they were righteously advocating for authentic representation, using many of the exact arguments that made it into this piece. In reality, I was secretly questioning my sexuality while living under the particular hellhole of a microscope. I came out as bi in 2020, copying my fucking style, at age 37. Nearly, out of sheer desperation. To be clear, this meant coming out to my parents, my entire extended family, and everyone I'd ever met, plus hundreds of thousands of strangers on the internet. And here I am lumped in with, quote, the straights, unquote. Yet again, on a major creator's video. I typically really enjoy your content, and I liked, again, you have not looked into it clearly. But then again, neither had anyone else, until now. Or not that many people, anyway. I typically really enjoy your content, and I liked a lot of the points you made in this video, but your assumptions about creators' identities would have been so easy to fix with a basic Google search. No one has to connect with every piece of queer media, but if your argument mislabels and misgenders multiple creators, your take isn't as nuanced as you think it is. Fucking based.
How shitty it feels getting lumped in with the straights yet again years after coming out, specifically after being treated poorly by people like James. When this happened, this is how he complained to his fan Discord about her. She isn't happy I included her in the straight female authors section. But I never said she was straight. James is still sore about this mild pushback. He now refuses to acknowledge Love Simon by name, referring to some unspecified incident.
This is compounded through several other high-profile instances of gay media, specifically one which made waves in 2018, but that I will not explicitly mention for reasons. If you know, you know.
Someone asked what he meant by this in the Discord, and he clarified he meant Love Simon, and in true James fashion made up a story where he didn't do anything wrong.
Also, the J-Shark is interesting to remember because he also tweeted this, or not tweeted, he put this on his Discord. Where are we? Goodbye, everyone. Oh, Jesus Christ. That was all he said. That was all he fucking said, man. Oh, that is a gut puncherino.
He simply mentioned he wasn't its biggest fan, and the author ripped into him on Twitter and stuff. As far as I can tell, Becky never tweeted anything or said anything anywhere about him except his comments section. He's having to twist the story pretty hard to seem like he didn't do a shitty thing here. He called a bi author a straight with kawaii ideas about gay people, didn't think she would see it, and she criticized him for doing it. So this is the non-stolen work, the stuff he writes himself. Open bitterness about women, lies, and grievance.
Oh, is that why he came to H-Bomber Guy's attention? Apparently all this James Somerton stuff came out after he was public asshole about not getting onto Nebula. Which, by the way, if you don't know what Nebula is, it's this thing where it's like a subscription-based YouTube alternative, I guess. And there are lots of like lefty, progressive type content creators there. I think Lindsay Ellis is there, and like various other of your favourite leftoids on YouTube publish there and stuff, you know? Anyway, the point being, is that how he came to everyone's attention? Because that would be kind of interesting. He fucked himself over. Very much like Icarus, he got too close to the sun. And the wax wings that he'd stolen from somebody else melted and he fell to the fucking ground. Is that a suicide note? Well, I do hope not, man, Cheetah. He's a bad person, but that's not, you know. I think he was just running away, basically. He didn't want to give an explanation to people.
Over being criticized for this. I'm gonna regret saying it, but he should have stuck to the plagiarism. He complained on Twitter about being criticized for being so harsh on the women who thirsted after Dharma, not realizing he was actually being criticized for a pattern of behavior. These criticisms were valid already, but I would like to supply the context that he stole the words he is saying here and reworded them to be more mad at women specifically. James, what the fuck are you doing? I am trying to maintain focus for once in a video and stick to the plagiarism, but I just can't get away from how this guy fucking sucks.
H-Bomber Guy, stop pretending that you are capable of sticking to the topic. I have given up even the pretense that I can stick to one topic. I go off on weird little tangents. You do so over the course of weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks into 1,000,001 different backstories and come up with absolute bangers, gems, right? Do not apologise for that shit. It is who you are. Come to terms and embrace it and come out with your magnum opus, a 28-hour video about the noise that was made in a video game by a guy who was also half leopard or something. Something fucking mental. I don't know.
James doesn't get caught stealing as often as he should do because he's cultivated an audience of younger queer people who don't read the kind of stuff he's stealing from, and don't recognise open misogyny as long as it's qualified as white women. But on the rare occasion that he is caught, his solution is to private or delete the video and re-upload a slightly changed version and hope no one digs into this extremely suspicious behaviour. For example, while I was doing preliminary research late last year, a funny thing happened. Somerton's YouTube community page was wiped. Hundreds of posts from over several years disappeared overnight. At this point, I'd spoken to a few of the writers Somerton had stolen from, and I wondered if maybe one of them had publicly accused him. But after doing some more looking, it turned out no, someone else had independently noticed they'd been plagiarized because there was still more. Seldom Musings, a WordPress blog, had made a post accusing Somerton of plagiarizing a blog post about Attack on Titan from 2013. And then I thought, wait, doesn't Somerton have a video from September 2022 called, like, Attack on Titan and the Death of Media Literacy? Well,
in this 25...
did. Finding an old link, it was suddenly set to private.
Oh, I do like man-carrying thing.
In this 25.5-hour video essay, I'm going to explore how Hbomberguy's 10.5-hour video essay, Morbius 3D is a subversive masterpiece, Here's Why, is a masterpiece. Here's why.
True. It is the future. Embrace it.
Over 1.5 million views had been wiped from his channel. Huh. I already had a copy downloaded because, well, Somerton has deleted inconvenient videos before, and I figured something like this would happen again. I've been going through his videos chronologically, so I hadn't got to that one yet, but what's kind of funny is I know I would have noticed this plagiarism myself if I had. That blog post has gone viral multiple times. It's one of the main sources for Western awareness of Attack on Titan's author's right-wing views. If you're deep on anime fascism discourse, this is a classic post. I've seen it linked and referenced dozens of times over the years. It would make sense to point...
Can I just say that the phrase, those who are familiar with anime fascism discourse, might be my least favourite sentence of all time. I'm just putting that out there for anyone who's interested. Maybe you're not, that's fine. I'm just saying it. I'm on the record now.
To this post if you were discussing the political implications of Attack on Titan, or you could even quote it and cite it as a source. Well, wouldn't you know it, Somerton doesn't link the post or quote it anywhere, or acknowledge its existence, he just copies it.
This outrage should come as no surprise.
No, for God's sake. Hang on. Right, okay.
This new Hbomberguy video truly exposes some of the worst examples of plagiarism on YouTube. These examples prove it almost takes more effort to steal someone's ideas than to just cite them as academic sources. I hope that this example raises the standards for video essays and allows for a more comprehensive system for academic sources on YouTube. Hold on. I'm a YouTuber. Hi everyone, can you accidentally plagiarize myself? What is a book? I am unlisting my latest video until I figure out what plagiarism is. I just don't want to be in an Hbomberguy video. I think I did the right thing.
Until I work out what plagiarism is. He is good, man carrying thing. He is good. He is good.
Surprise knowing the history between Japan and Korea, but that is exactly what most people may not be aware of. Korea was occupied by Japan from 1910 to 1945.
True.
One of many East Asian nations colonized by Japan as part of its growing imperial presence at the time, during which the Japanese army enforced changing Korean names to Japanese style, destroyed and stole Korean cultural artifacts and locations, murdered the Korean empress, forced Korean men into hazardous war efforts, forced Korean women into sexual slavery for Japanese soldiers, and tortured and massacred and experimented upon Koreans en masse. However, history books and classes in Japan have glossed over it, if not outright ignored these events.
James doesn't acknowledge the writing he's stealing at all, though he does find the time to make a long opening sequence, James Somerton Presents, directed and edited by James Somerton, written by Nick Hergott and James Somerton. This site was active briefly in 2013, with a post in 2016 clarifying the blog was done. They came back 6 years later to talk about James stealing their
6 fucking years. Mental.
Their work.
The reluctance to paraphrase the same factual information speaks to a lack of imagination, not to mention a lack of research. He should be ashamed of the laziness of copying entire sentences into his script as if he wrote them himself. How can you say a fandom lacks media literacy when you can't even conduct your own research or compose your own analysis?
Summerton saw the author call him a plagiarist and panicked and hid the video, deleted all his community posts so there was nowhere to leave a comment asking what happened this time. He was preparing for his plagiarism to go public and locking everything down. If what Summerton was doing was a defensible artistic choice, he'd be defending it, wouldn't he? He'd say, this is a normal thing to do and I'm going to keep doing it. Instead, he does it secretly and hides the videos when people notice. It's clear he knows what he's doing is wrong and would just rather keep stealing than actually do any work. But while we're talking about the Attack on Titan video, you know he didn't just steal one thing. The video's an hour long. No self-respecting marketing expert would do all that work himself. In this video, and only this video, he quotes several YouTubers, like he has their text on the screen and he reads it out. And he would never normally do that. He would just steal their words and pretend he came up with them. Which means he must be stealing from someone who quoted them. And, yeah.
For a long time, anime...
Oh, for God's sake. It's a theft within a theft within a theft. It's an enigma of shittery.
Fans had no way of knowing what their favorite writers and artists even looked like, let alone what they thought about the world.
3.5 minutes of this video comes from Geeta Jackson at Vice Motherboard. And yeah, when he quotes YouTubers, he's actually quoting Jackson quoting them. I can't believe I fucking called it.
YouTuber Jeff Thu argues, it's because this discussion keeps happening, but it's also not. There's some really good criticism of Attack on Titan, and I think it's important to criticize it.
Now, this isn't just an article quoting.
Hello there, Surferinos. How are we all? I'm Kevin Logan, a terrible streamer from the UK. Howdy doody. You can hit the follow button.
Ladies and gentlemen,
oh, hang on,
we got him. Victory is ours.
You've gotten a little taste there of the alert box noise that will be going off, hopefully, as new awesome people from the Surfs hit the follow button, which you can do. I'm Kevin Logan, a socialist from the UK. You can also, by the way, hit the refresh button or my little face icon down below so I get the algorithmic boost of your eyeballs. We are currently watching H-Bomber Guy's video. I would usually put slightly more effort into my content, but today we are literally just watching his video and reacting as we go along. I've had an appallingly bad day. I usually start stream at 6 PM UK time. I didn't until 10 PM today because I've had a genuinely awful day. And you can come and I'm board here and have an awful day with me, if you're interested. Anyway, thank you, Lance, for raiding it. Everyone go and follow the Surfs. If you're not already following the Surfs, what the fuck are you doing with your lives? I don't know exactly. But either way, hit the follow button and we can all enjoy the time between now and death in vaguely amusing fashion. No. I am a great salesman, you're quite right. Oh, it's beautiful.
Someone, Jackson reached out to Jeff for his opinion on this topic. There's nowhere else James could have got this quote, and this time he really fucked it up. At one point he uses a quote Jackson got from historian and scholar Andrea Horbinsky. But remember how he sometimes find and replaces words?
I haven't been in H-Bomber Guy's crosshairs. No, why would I be in his crosshairs? As if anyone would steal this nonsense. Join us following... What the fuck is this? Follow the Surfs to be notified when they are live. I'm already following them. Why is Twitch telling me this? Why is this popped up? This next stream... What? I don't know why that's popped up. Oh, because we gave a shout out. Apologies. Thank you. Yeah. I am. As you can tell, new people, I'm shit at this. I'm shit at streaming. But you can still follow if you wanted to.
It's like gay or trans to queer or LGBT to hide it. He accidentally did that to the quote.
As they put it, these fans insist that feminism and LGBTQ people don't exist in Japan and that any anime depicting either is woke garbage or similar.
Do straight people exist in Japan? That's, like, don't get me wrong. I mean, I hope that they're all gay, obviously. But I've never seen a straight Japanese person. All I've seen are, like, small Japanese ladies and then, like, big sumo guys. And that's it. And every one of them's gay. Is that not what Japan is actually like? Are they not being attacked by Godzilla? I don't understand any of these things. I don't know what's going on. Please save me from myself. Thank you, Main Captain, for gifting a sub to Tigwick. Much love.
Fans are extremely angry at attempts to discuss the depictions of female characters in anime as something that could often use improvement, or the inclusion of LGBT characters.
Jesus Christ, Kevin. What did you expect? What did you expect, Gray? For me to actually understand anything about the world outside of my own living room? I'm not even in my living room, what the fuck?
Period.
This is the most amateur shit I've ever seen. This is sub-high school level plagiarism hiding. You don't find and replace text in the quotes, James! People in Summerton's official Discord server were asking what happened to the video. On January the 1st this year, he said the video was coming back up that day and that it had to come down because of a missing source. That's a very strange way of saying someone noticed me plagiarizing them and criticized me for it and I deleted fucking everything. The new version he uploaded is a minute shorter. He just cut out the sections where he directly read the blog post.
This, honestly, this is the laziest attempt at getting around anything. His excuses are terrible. His ways of getting around shit are terrible. How did he ever get, genuinely, how did he get to fucking 320,000 subscribers? Which, by the way, should we have a check? What's... Oh, does Social Blade not update very often? Because he's still on 282,000, which he definitely wasn't. Well, there's no way it's just stayed absolutely static for the last fucking 2 hours. Nah, bollocks to it. We'll get rid of that. I don't give a fuck. Anyway. Yeah, how did he get that big? Considering how atrociously shit he is at this. I do not know. Oh. That was a loud noise. That didn't need to happen.
The video is even more stilted and strangely written than normal. The point Summerton was trying to make here was so important he was willing to steal it from someone else. Now that point is missing, and the surrounding
Social Blade doesn't update in real time because of YouTube. What did YouTube do? Something shit, no doubt, because it's YouTube.
Conversation makes no sense. The new version opens saying the original had a citation error. But if that was the problem, why didn't he add a citation instead of deleting the section completely? Well, one reason might be he wants the credit for himself, but the other is if he added their name now, anyone who checked would see the author's new post saying he plagiarized them. Summerton's only way out is to hide it and hope no one notices. He doesn't want to stop stealing, he just wants to not get caught doing it. If he thinks he can get away with keeping something in, he does. The 3 minutes of the video, written completely by Geeta Jackson, are...
Can I just say, I've just noticed as well H-Bomber Guy's hairy chest. I hadn't noticed that before. Which ironically would make him the most fuckable twink in the world. Just saying.
Still in the new version, completely unchanged. As of recording this video, no one else seems to have noticed this yet, but if anyone does, he'll doubtless delete the video and re-upload a new version with that piece missing too and call it a day.
James has done this repeatedly in the past. Several other videos open with text claiming they had to be re-uploaded to avoid a mysterious and unexplained copyright issue. One of them was Codebreakers. At some point it was taken down, altered to hide some but not all of the stuff he stole, and re-uploaded with a new title, Queering Cinema, by any means necessary. The opening titles still call it Codebreakers though. Every time he re-uploads the video, the name is different. It's very confusing.
And it's so annoying because there's so many great queer content creators out there. You know? Kev, do you know what the gay terms, slang term otter means? Isn't that like a hairy twink, basically? Isn't that what that is? It's like a cross between a twink and a bear. I think is what an otter is. I'll be honest with you. I am reasonably new to queer culture, and I'm mostly in it to fuck, if I'm entirely honest. Although, to be honest with you, when I thought I was straight, I was mostly in it to fuck. Straight culture never really did anything for me either. For me, sexuality has always just been a thing that's about me, rather than a thing that's a part of who I am. You know? What is this nonsense? Gay otter, what does it mean? Within the LGBT community, otter is a term to describe... a type of gay man. Otters generally have a lot of body hair, much like bears, but are smaller in frame and or weight considerably less than bears. Otters are usually found in the vicinity of bears, and the two can often be found at the same meetups, events, and gatherings. Well, there you go. What's a horse? I think we know.
And his well-meaning fans assume that his constantly taking down of videos and re-uploading with pieces missing is a sign of his integrity. They talk about how much more they respect him every time he re-uploads a video like this. Every time.
Am I a bear? Is that what I count as? Because of the hairiness? And the fact that I'm a big I suppose I am. I've never really considered myself that. I suppose I am a bit of a bear. Anyone want some bear action? Intriguing.
Because he has to do it a lot.
The reality is Somerton has had years worth of chances to be the man of integrity his audience wants him to be, and despite this being his full-time job, which he makes thousands and thousands of dollars doing, he would rather keep stealing. By the way, that re-upload of Codebreakers, Queering Cinema, around the time of the Attack on Titan drama, it disappeared again. As far as I can tell, it's still gone nearly a year later. Maybe some authors noticed what he did and said something.
Surely if I'm a bear, that means my Paws Andy game is spelled P-A-W-S. Like a bear's paws! Laugh at me!
Maybe so many pieces had to be taken out there was nothing left.
The frequency with which he's had to hide videos to cover this up is staggering. Scrolling up his Discord's video announcement page, you can see right away a shocking amount of stuff that mysteriously went missing without any explanation given. For some reason, Nick wrote a joke on this page about how to tell who wrote what part of each video. It's cute, but I'm going to take it as confirmation that if a section doesn't contain these words, neither of them wrote it. While I was browsing his public fan Discord, I found myself wondering about Nick, his co-writer. Does he know?
Nick Hergott, also known as NT Hergott, is a writer, mostly for James's videos, but he does have a self-published young adult novel, so there we go. He's a better writer than James as far as I can tell, in the sense it doesn't look like he steals things.
So, does he know what his boss is doing? I checked the fan Discord to see if they talk about the writing process, and I found Nick has a special section dedicated to previewing part of the scripts for upcoming videos, which is a really nice feature. Or it will be, if they wrote them. Nick showcases parts he's written, and as far as I can tell, they're actually his. And they're pretty decent too. And sometimes he shows things James wrote.
This is part of the script for a video called How Disney Tore Down the Owl House, and it actually made it into the video.
Yeah, there's no way he can't know something, right? Surely.
Let me play it to you.
Chapek, though, is in a unique position as far as CEOs of multi-billion-dollar corporations go. Disney is, first and foremost, in the business of making money, but unlike almost every other giant corporation, it doesn't want to be seen that way by the general public.
Nick literally says, James wrote this. So at the very least, James Somerton wrote this text, right? Right? No!
Chapek, though, is...
Ow, ooh, ouch. That didn't need to fucking happen. H-boomer guy. Yeah, I said it.
In a unique position as far as CEOs of multi-billion-dollar corporations go. Disney is, first and foremost, in the business of making money.
It's an article by Julie Tremaine for the San Francisco Gate. I wonder how she feels about having her work reposted to an audience being told it was written by James Somerton. Holy...
Headphone warning. Bit late now. Bit late for a headphone warning now. Jesus Christ, you people! And the new people. You could have warned me, and you didn't. You chose not to. Just attacking the new... Drive them away. Drive all of the new people away. Yes!
Shit! If it's any consolation, Julie, James Somerton's Discord thinks your writing is harsh but true. I love any time y'all talk about Disney. Jesus Christ, it wasn't y'all, it was someone else! It was them all!
But the way this post was phrased implies...
Them all. You've gone American. H-Bomber Guy's sold out. He's in the pocket of Big Yank.
Nick has no idea James did this. He probably saw the text his boss put in the shared script and assumed he wrote it, because if he didn't, that would be really fucking bad. And it's not just these 2 paragraphs. A solid 4 minutes and 40 seconds are taken from this article. What's weird is James actually acknowledges in the video he has no idea why he went on this tangent.
So, what does all this have to do with the Owl House? Well,
I just wanted to point out how big of a tool Bob Chapek is.
He stole a bunch of words for literally no reason. They don't even connect to his point. He just needed to pad his runtime, I guess. Here's another section of a script Nick shared. This is from a draft of the Attack on Titan video. Wait, what's this? Shonan? Okay, shonen is a Japanese word. There's like 5 ways to spell it in English, and this isn't any of them. Here's how we translate Bisatsu Shonen magazine, where Attack on Titan was published. Has he never seen a single issue of Shonen Jump? This video sucks.
No, Shonan is just where you reveal your grandmother to people. Shonan. That's what that is. I'll see myself out.
By the way, he didn't know anything about the genre he was discussing, and now it turns out he can't even spell it. I hope this section was plagiarized. Then again, maybe this time Nick found something he liked in the script that James actually wrote. Nope. It's also stolen! Again! It comes from culturalreview.com, the website/personal blog of Tyler Hummel, who hopes to bring thoughtful and enjoyable commentary on popular culture and entertainment from a culturally conservative and religious perspective. In case you're wondering what that means, he thinks Batman is too woke. Right before the section...
Batman is too woke. Why has he got a black cape on? Why can't he have a good white cape like all Americans? This is racial not segregation. Erasure. This is white genocide. It's white genocide! Honestly, I love it when Nazi fucking pricks start going on about you being white genocide because like, there was a black person in a television advert. No! And I just think that's brilliant. I think we should all miscegenate just to annoy cunts like that. Honestly, it's the one thing I don't like about both my niece and nephew is that they're both like white. I told both of my brothers, I said, look, lads, you've definitely got to breed with people who aren't white because it will annoy Nazis. And did they listen to me? No. They went and did the thing that might make them happy. They did their own thing in life. It's fucking disgusting.
James copied into a document and told Nick he wrote all by himself, Hummel complains about Marxism and critical race theory, and then randomly whines about people who criticized Game of Thrones' final season before posting Lindsay Ellis's video about it as an example of people he hates. In his quest to seem like he knows what he's talking about, he's willing to borrow the words of a guy who hates him and everything he stands for.
Oh yeah, the GTA 6 trailer fucking nonsense is a fantastic example of how boomerism can never die. Because you will always just have social conservatives doing boomer shit all the time. Yeah. Michael McIntyre. I'm not playing a Michael McIntyre bit. I'm sorry, non-binary. I love you dearly. You're a valued member of my community. But if you try and get me to play a fucking Michael McIntyre clip ever again, I will personally hunt you down and force you to watch good comedy. Not written by a cunt. Okay? That it has been said.
Including Lindsay Ellis, who he credits with getting him into making video essays, another crime Lindsay should pay for.
Wait a minute, did he film himself next?
Do that. If you don't know who Michael McIntyre is, preserve that ignorance. It is absolutely bliss.
To Disney War because Lindsay did? Was he copying that too? Normally I'd think I was overreacting, but he's stolen everything else. I don't know anymore. At least that means he didn't get Shonen wrong. That must have been the nutcase he copied from. No, that's one of the few new words he added to the stolen segment. James Somerton is the dumbest motherfucker. To be completely fair, this piece of the script didn't make it into the final video, so it seems Somerton thought better than to steal from one of the most insane people in the world. But the fact Nick keeps accidentally showing pieces of the script James stole, assuming he did write them, implies even his co-writer has no idea he's doing this. I feel kind of sorry for Nick.
That maybe he genuinely didn't know. Because if you did know, you wouldn't reveal that, would you? That would be a very, very silly thing for you to do. If you were aware that your co-writer was stealing shit, whether you were okay with that or not, whether you were going to play along with that or not, you wouldn't reveal it to the world, would you? Surely he must not have known. Or he's playing the best double bluff I've ever seen in my fucking life. It would be an amazing double bluff. The bollocks on you to actually try that shit would be tremendous. You'd have to be hung like a fucking elephantiasis character or something. Hanging out with Kev to watch good comedy is a threat. It is a threat. It's not a danger, but it is a threat.
His trust has clearly been violated here. He's been made a liar without his knowledge because he trusted his boss and, I assume, friend. That's a messed up situation to be in, seriously. I thought it would be worse if Nick was in on it, but it's the opposite way around, isn't it? It's so violating imagining people work for James and, I assume, make most of their income from working for him and don't know what they're signing up for. I don't know how I would feel in his position, but not good.
Yeah, I guess he could be setting him up to fall. Yeah. In which case, he's not playing along with it, at least. Or he's playing along with it to the degree he can still be employed, but hoping that the guy gets taken down by it. Yeah. I'd like that, and thank you for hunting me down. Well, you're very welcome, non-binary. Watch for me in the shadows. Okay? I see all things. I don't know where you are. I barely know where I am half the fucking time.
This sucks. Worst of all, I think James might be using Nick as a shield. Whenever any mention of the old plagiarism stuff comes up, James immediately brings up how Nick actually writes the videos, and there's no way he would plagiarize.
I have a co-writer who came from academia, where plagiarism in academia gets you kicked out of school.
Lace, it is now a bannable offence to link any comedian who is not Michael McIntyre. Lace, it's like you want me to kick you out. It's like you want me to actually permaban you. Don't fucking test me. That gets unpinned. I'm not going to delete it. I'm just going to unpin it for the bit. Okay? Don't fucking test me. I will break you, motherfucker.
Like, it gets you fired. Nick co-writes my videos. There is no plagiarism.
It's like he's trying to redirect possible negative attention onto his unsuspecting co-writer. Whenever plagiarism comes up, James brings up how great Nick is for writing all the videos in a totally not suspicious way.
Jesus Christ, what a scumbag. What a fucking scumbag.
Because if it was like somebody accusing me of plagiarism, especially recently...
He's like an onion of evil. You just peel away one layer and there's another layer of just fucking mendacity.
The videos are so heavily written by Nick that they would be accusing Nick of plagiarism, and I will not fucking tolerate that.
Remember, James knows there is plagiarism in his videos because he did it. So when he responds by saying, no, Nick writes the videos and he would never do that, it's like he's setting him up to take the fall.
Nick is an angel for tolerating me and writing the videos as well, like with his fantastic talent. So that I would just not tolerate.
So either Nick is plagiarizing as well, and that's why the new videos still have a ton of plagiarism, or James is doing it, and now when it comes up, he throws Nick under the bus. But James isn't content pretending to make video essays, no. He wants to wipe on a bigger canvas. In 2022, James Somerton started an Indiegogo for a film studio he wanted to open called Telos Pictures, which intended to produce films focusing on LGBT characters and stories. His video pitching Telos included a series of ideas for miniseries, feature-length movies, and short films. For example, Final Girl, a short about a woman who had survived a typical slasher story. The initial goal of $6,000 was to make 2 of the short films, but with stretch goals for making more. The campaign made enough money to make almost all of them, over 86,000 Canadian dollars, so a bit over 63,000 in USD. Telos has been
So about 50 grand in proper money. That's not bad. That's a decent chunk of change. He was not doing bad. And that's on top of his like regular income as well. That's not bad.
Runaway financial success for James. As of today, 18 months after raising over $64,000, more than 10 times its initial goal, Telos has made nothing. For people who supported Telos, updates on what's happening have been few and far between. A few months after the campaign ended, he claimed final...
I mean, look, grifter's gonna grift, you know? If it's all about the Benjamins, baby. Yeah, this is what fucking people who take advantage do, you know? Fuck me.
Girl, one of the short films on the slate, was in pre-production and had been expanded into a full movie, but they were having trouble with casting and were considering relocating to another part of Canada. The next update would come 7 months later, with the announcement James had moved to Toronto to try to find actors, and they dropped Final Girl and moved on to a new project.
You know what, that's not a bad idea, Thorea. Yeah, the idea that he might have hired Nick in the first place so that he could throw him under again if he ever got caught again. Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense, yeah. Have someone pre-prepared to throw under the bus. Intriguing.
Project, one which wasn't on the original list people funded, called The Listener. He'd be spending $20,000 to $30,000 of the Telos money on it, and as an apology for the lack of updates, he would be adding an update page to the Telos website later that week to keep people informed. 10 months later, this hasn't happened. The Telos website does, however, have a working donation page where you can give him more money for rewards up to and including getting to make requests about the films. What films? Months later, this July, he announced Telos had finally been incorporated as a real company. He called this a long and pricey process. Incorporating in Canada is a few hours of paperwork and costs $200 Canadian. He claimed an update was coming within a week. This was almost 3 months ago. The Telos Twitter account hasn't been updated in well over a year, but he recently opened a Telos Blue Sky page, which has made one post with a poster for a new movie supposedly coming in 2024, which isn't The Listener or any of the previously mentioned films. Every time I look in on Telos, I find no updates on what's happening, but I do find out about a new movie they announced. The website is currently claiming another new film called The Sub, estimated release 2023, is in pre-production. Better get a move on then. Telos keeps announcing new projects with a new poster to go with it consisting of a stock photo with text over it, and then not making any.
Every part of this guy's existence is just shoddy. Every fucking part of it, man. Oh. Fucking crikey. How did he get to this level? Fuck me.
Any of them. This one's already being used for a real show that exists. He keeps putting text on stock photos and pretending it's a real film in pre-production. It doesn't exactly inspire confidence how fast new films are being dreamed up. One of them even had a teaser consisting entirely of stock footage, only to never be spoken of again.
Oh,
this one isn't even mentioned on the website at all anywhere. Movies take time to make, even short indie films, and for the record so do video essays, but the lack of updates on
Fair point. Fair point. Well made.
What is happening, or which film is even being...
Or we should point out, so do good video essays. Shit ones can be churned out like fuck. Illuminati, I'm looking at you.
Made is a little disconcerting. Continuing the trend of James's work not really being his, we need to talk about Final Girl, the first project which was cancelled. Final Girl was at one point coming this fall, which at the time was 2022. The people who funded this film were told to expect it by autumn last year. They got pretty far on this one. In late June, James tweeted the script was done. But then, all of a sudden, James moved on to The Listener and the 5 other films he started since then. But unlike many of James's other announced projects, which still have a poster and a tentative release date on the site, Final Girl disappeared completely. What happened here? He claimed he gave up because it was too specific to Nova Scotia and he had to move to find actors. But there could be another reason. The name and synopsis of Final Girl are extraordinarily close to a book which already exists. The Final Girl Support Group by Grady Hendrix.
Oh, for fuck's sake. I at least thought he'd come up with his own, like... Oh, no. Again, every time I think... I will give him a tiny bit of credit and be like, oh, he came up with a movie idea, even if he never meant to do it. It was only a grift. He did come up with an idea. Nope.
I wonder if Somerton is aware of the similarity. It would be weird if he wasn't, because it was one of his favourite books of 2021. He started the Indiegogo with this short film idea a few months after making this post. You'll be shocked to discover, but something of James's turned out to be stolen and evaporated. The 18-month journey of Telos consists of Somerton being paid $65,000 to make a dozen fake movie posters. So far, James has ripped off bloggers, novelists, authors, anyone who writes text for a living, really. Oh, and Wikipedia, and AMVs, because watching Korra for himself was too much effort, apparently. If you're queer and you wrote something good, no you didn't, but now we need to talk about the time he somehow went even further than that. Let's talk about the
It's not possible. Nope.
time he ripped off another gay YouTuber. Remember Unrequited, the video that ripped off the Celluloid Closet and plagiarized Peter Howell? Before any of the Celluloid Closet stuff had even been discovered, James had already been caught ripping off someone else with the same video. How? How are there still more? A later section covered examples of queerbaiting in various TV shows, including BBC's Merlin, the recent Teen Wolf TV series, and Sherlock, whatever that is. But
Sherlock.
People began to notice these sections were suspiciously similar to one another YouTuber had already made. Alexander Avila, whose channel used to be called Are They Gay, has a series of videos exploring the queer implications between characters in various shows, and he's covered...
Oh, there are so many fantastic channels that do this kind of content. My personal favourite, I think, is probably Verily Bitchy, who's a fantastic British/Slovenian producer who you should all go and check out if you enjoy weird gay shit and media mashup. Woo!
Merlin, Teen Wolf, and Sherlock. The part of Summerton's video covering Merlin feels like he watched Avila's video and very slightly rephrased it. But what made it really obvious was the footage he used. They weren't just similar, they were exactly the same. Avila had this one part where he fades between several different scenes across different episodes to show the evolving character dynamics. This is Avila using editing and his knowledge of the show to make a point. That same sequence appears exactly in Summerton's video. Avila's video puts text over the footage.
Literally just in the same... Fuck me.
To explain the character's thoughts and justify his interpretation of the show. This text is still in there in Summerton's version. This is sloppy even by James' standards. He even keeps in a joke Avila made.
If I wasn't a prince, what? I think we'd probably get on.
In case it wasn't obvious, Marvin Gaye's Let's Get It On wasn't in the original show. Avila put that in there for a joke. And you're not gonna believe this.
We'd probably get on.
Oh, we've got an update, people. We've got an update. It's down to 281,000. Whoop, 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 whoop. Let's keep it going. These are rookie numbers. We need to drive these numbers into the fucking floor.
Summerton stole Alexander Avila's video essay and reused it, and just recorded his own very similar version of the voiceover and jokes.
It really is like a romantic comedy.
Oh, come on, you've seen a romantic comedy, you know how this works.
This is the worst and laziest example of plagiarism I've ever seen. Reusing other people's work like this is not right, especially when, you know, you make a living making these videos. He only said things about the show Avila also said. It's extremely clear Summerton hasn't seen Merlin, he just reused Avila's work. The other sections covering Teen Wolf and Sherlock also had extremely similar looking sequences. He'd downloaded and reused several of Avila's videos. When this was discovered, Avila tweeted to Summerton about...
Also, I just want to point out that I don't hate the Sherlock series in the way that H. Bomber Guy does. I'm just putting that out there. You can call me a monster if you wish.
To asking for proper credit, and in the future, to ask people permission before doing something like this. He also left a similar comment on the video, which finally got James's attention. The next day, Summerton set Unrequited to private and contacted Avila on Twitter. I reached out to Avila and asked him what they discussed, and he gave me permission to share these messages with you. Summerton apologized for using his material without asking, claiming he intended to reach out but forgot to, and he had been in a rush to finish the video before the end of Pride Month, and in this rush he ended up using a lot more of your content than I ever intended. He then offered to credit Avila in the description of his video. Ah yes, that old trick. He also, perplexingly, asked Avila to delete his comment because he put an awful lot of work into his videos and felt discredited by it, which, frankly, is a wild thing to say to someone you just admitted you stole from. You're not the one putting the work in, buddy. Avila said he would rather Summerton...
You're absolutely correct, Marinaka. The books are way better. The 80s BBC version is better, and Elementary is better. That is also true. Also, interesting point about Elementary. Did you know because so many episodes were made, it now means that Johnny Lee Miller is the person who has spent most screen time of any human being ever as Sherlock Holmes. Little fact for you. And by the way, one of the few adaptations of those stories where the Sherlock Holmes stories don't exist. Little factoid for you.
upload a new version that credited him in it directly, or perhaps he could watch Merlin and make his own arguments. He also reminded him that passing someone else's work off as their own is far more discrediting than pointing out someone did that. Somerton never replied.
So he admitted he plagiarized Avila's work, but he had an explanation. He was too busy. Too busy doing what? You don't do anything!
The video was never unprivated. Instead, a few days later, it was re-uploaded with pieces missing, of course. This re-upload was also in 3 parts, saying the video had been edited to remove content owned by other parties. The re-uploads also say which part of 3 they are, except for part 3, which is also called part 2. Somerton had put in about as much work as you'd expect from someone who copies for a living. In the new version, the Merlin section was completely removed. However, this was the only change. So later parts...
Oh yeah, Jeremy Brett was the best Holmes. I'm just saying in terms of volume, Miller. Also, I do like Miller's portrayal. It's a better modern version with loads of cool callback bits in it. To various things, including the Jeremy Brett thing. A little hidden gem for you if you watch the first series of Elementary. In, I think it's episode 4 or 5, I can't remember. The bit where one of the... ways in which they bond and develop the characters of Holmes and Watson in the kind of modern setting is that she finds, because Watson is a she in that story, played by the fantastic Lucy Lowe, finds Holmes's violin. The violin, obviously, itself a callback to the original Holmes story, because he also plays the violin. But that's a thing from his old life. And so to have... this thing brought up, he sets the violin on fire, and it's all this whole thing. Anyway, and one of the breakthroughs he makes eventually at the end of that show, that particular episode, he starts playing the violin, and the tune he plays on the violin is the original violin intro and outro music for the Jeremy Brett series of Sherlock Holmes. Little tidbit for you there, little hidden one, which some people may not quite have gotten.
Parts of the video still refer back to it.
Much like with Merlin, the pair start the series off on a bad paw.
The Teen Wolf and Sherlock sections were kept the same, so all the...
No, not his landlord, his I suppose what would you call them? Essentially, what function? A cleaner, I guess, I suppose, but it's more important than that. The Mrs. Not Watson, fuck me, Mrs. Hudson. The character who is the landlady in the original stories is not the landlady in this case, because the house they live in is owned by Sherlock Holmes' father. Essentially housekeeper, maid, whatever. But she's an important and interesting character in her own right, who is a kind of savant in her own right. Anyway, she is trans. Although it's never really touched upon that much, but she is a trans character. Which again, a modern update on an old thing.
The video sequences he got from Avila for those parts were still in there. He didn't accidentally use any obvious parts where Avila's text or jokes came up, so I guess he decided it was fine to keep it in. The way James treated Alexander, stealing several of his videos, then when caught offering to hide a credit in the description like that would change what he'd done, and then re-uploading the video with half the stuff he stole still in it, is a clear indicator how little he thinks of his fellow queer creators. He does not care about doing right by other people in his community. He cares about making money. By any means necessary. What makes this even clearer is how publicly he does not admit fault or even pretend he learned anything. To this day, he lies about what happened. When the plagiarism allegations came up on that livestream, he made up a completely new story that contradicts the apology he gave to Alexander. He claims he downloaded a highlight reel of Merlin clips from somewhere else, and that highlight reel stole from Avila's video, so technically he...
What about this anime of Sherlock Holmes? If someone can get hold of a entirely legal version of this, we could do a watch along on the Discord. I'm happy with any adaptation of Sherlock Holmes. I think the stories are so fucking fun.
He didn't steal from him and it was all just a misunderstanding.
In the original History of Queer Coding video, I used a highlight reel from the show Arthur that another YouTuber had used, and I thought it was just a highlight video, but apparently it actually came from another video from the
Oh God, this still has nearly 35 minutes to go.
channel Are They Gay?
He repeats
Oh
and
my
refines this story
God.
throughout the stream.
And there was one where I took a highlight reel in 2020 from a highlight video that happened to be from a video from
Would I watch a furry woo version of Sherlock Holmes? No. Okay, I will not give in to your prurience. Sherlock Holmes is no. Don't sully Sherlock Holmes with that fucking degeneracy.
a YouTube channel.
The only problem with this story is we have receipts.
And I took a highlight reel to highlight the queerness in the Arthur show, Merlin show, and it was pointed out to me that that didn't come from a highlight reel, that came from an actual video, and it had been stolen from that video for the highlight reel that I took it from. Nick co-writes my videos. There is no plagiarism. There was, as I said, and I will say one more time, a highlight reel from the show Merlin that I took from a larger highlight reel video that was apparently sourced from a video from the channel Are They Gay?
James admitted directly to Avila that he took from his work on purpose, although he intended to steal less. How considerate of him. James is lying directly to his audience to protect his reputation. He can't even own up to his behavior. He just keeps lying, and he didn't even stop stealing. A little while after the stream where the allegations came up, he made a post on Patreon.
Honestly, I'm getting big George Santos ethical vibes right now. I'm getting big George Anthony DeVolder Santos ethique vibes. Good stuff. Good stuff. Hang on, who? What? Posh bastard. Hang on, what? You think I'm posh? Who thinks I'm posh? What the fuck are you talking about? Or are you talking about H Bomber guy? Because he's also not very posh either. I mean, he's a bit more middle class than I am, but like, I'm sorry if my education is too much for you. Sorry that I worked hard in school and shit. That's just too bad for you, I guess. You can always suck my dick.
Patreon to try to explain the allegations for people still asking about them. You have to be a patron to see it, so avert your eyes if you're not giving
I deleted it for fake news. Fucking true.
James money. In addition to repeating the lie, he got permission from Sean Griffin to adapt Tinkerbells and Evil Queens before making the video. He again states he got the clips from a highlight reel which got them from Are They Gay? Left to his own devices, James will just make up what happened. And since his paying customers haven't seen the evidence of him admitting he did it, they have no option but to assume it's true. James did this on purpose with multiple videos and is lying to his backers so they continue to support him financially. James, you've been to business school. You know there's a word for that. And even if I hadn't reached out to Avila and got that woefully hilarious confession, I could still have objectively proven he did it.
You're on my Facebook, Kev. Don't make me disparage your footwear. My footwear? What? I don't know. Nah. My head hurts.
There's one last missing piece of the puzzle here. Ignoring for a second he admitted to Avila he took from more than one video, ever since he's always pretended it was just Merlin. If I could somehow prove he also used Avila's other videos for those sections...
Oh, you're Erin. Oh, hello, Erin. Have I ever posted about my fucking footwear? Have I literally ever posted feet, clothed or otherwise, on social media? I don't think I have. Maybe I have, I don't know.
that would show the extent of the copying and how much he's lying to cover it up. But like I said, the Teen Wolf and Sherlock sections aren't as obvious. He doesn't steal any jokes, he just very boringly spouts arguments similar to Avila's while playing what looks like the same footage. It's harder to prove he downloaded his video to make this, which is probably why he feels comfortable pretending he didn't. I was thinking of watching both videos closely side by side and contrasting the clips to show they're all the same, wasting even more of my precious life watching Sherlock than I already have, but then I was
Sherlock isn't that bad. It's not great. I'm not going to pretend it's great, but it's not that bad. You snooty fuck. See, he's a posh bastard. See, I said it. I said it. I'm on your Facebook too. No feet to be found there. Well, thank you, Wayward, for telling me that you've searched for my feet. That isn't disturbing at all. Kev lives in the Midlands, aka the Black Country. Whoa, 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 whoa. Time out, Home Slice. I do not live in the Black Country. Now, for Americans, there's no racial element to that. Just be cool, yeah? I do not live in what's called the Black Country. I live in Birmingham, which is outside of the Black Country. If you besmirch me by comparing me to those yam cunts again, I will strike you down where you stand. If you're not standing, I will strike you where you sit. In theory. I won't actually do that. Hello there, Tegma TV. Everyone go and follow Tegma TV, by the way. Who is a good egg. Just saying.
reading James's tweets from when he was making this, and I saw that he posted a picture of him editing this video, with his timeline visible.
Oh,
Forgive
no.
me, but the opportunity to do something like this comes once in a lifetime.
Video enhance.
Jimmy, if you're somehow still watching, I need you to understand just how bad a liar you are. Just how obviously awful and deceitful you...
See, I want to get to the level where I can make myself into a fucking 90s game character like this. This needs to happen. There needs to be a Kev version of this.
look to anyone who's paying attention. Before you'd even uploaded the video, you posted a picture of the Sherlock section of your timeline, and the source footage is clearly labeled, "Are they gay?" You had proven you plagiarized Avila before the video was even done. Also, delete your channel. Let's get a big picture look.
True. Has he deleted his channel? No, he hasn't, has he? Has he deleted any videos, I wonder? If I can, I wish I could type. That would help, wouldn't it? From 12 days ago. I wonder when his next video is going to come out.
At how much stealing James has done. As of making this motion graphic, there are 56 video essays on his YouTube channel dated after October 2018. A minimum of 22 contain some amount of plagiarized material. Oof. He also has 2 essays exclusively to his Vimeo page. According to him, YouTube flagged them not safe for work. These have a ton of plagiarism in them too. Several videos were taken down and then re-uploaded with parts removed, like Attack on Titan and a few others. I don't know how I should account for re-uploads on this list, but we should at least include videos which were deleted and never came back, like Codebreakers, and hey, welcome back Unrequited. He took that re-upload down too at some point. I wonder why. And let me be clear, this is just the plagiarism we know of. We could have easily missed the stuff in the other videos, or there could be more deleted ones we don't even know about. That's a minimum of 20...
Delete your channel now reminds me of Hillary Clinton's delete your account. True. Although whenever I think of... what was it I was doing the other day? I can't remember. And I think I was reading something, and the town of Cedar Rapids came up in whatever fucking godforsaken state that's from. And I will never ever be able to hear the town Cedar Rapids without the Hillary Clinton meme. Hang on. I'll see if I can find it. There it is. Yep. Hey. Oh, that's other people doing it. I don't want other people doing it. It's got to be the big H-bomb herself. Not H-bomber guy.
I'm just chilling in Cedar Rapids.
How didn't she connect with the youth? I wonder. It's a mystery, isn't it? It's a mystery how no one wanted to vote for her. Jesus fucking Christ. It's in Iowa. Well, there you go.
6 videos that steal stuff. Like James said, there's not 3 or 4 examples, there's hours of examples. An entire channel's worth of examples. This isn't a one-off mistake, or a misunderstanding, or a citation error. This is a pattern with no sign of stopping. There's no fixing this, and there's no undoing the damage he's done, directly and indirectly, by using so many people's work without credit for money.
Oh, yeah, don't get me wrong. Hillary Clinton is hilarious in an entirely unintentional way. Yeah. Like, anything that's that unfunny, but yet is trying to be funny, becomes hilarious because of its lack of actual genuine funniness, right? Like Elon Musk. Elon Musk tries so hard to be funny and fails so much that it becomes hilarious. That you know what I mean? Like, it's completely unintentional. It's not funny in the way that he wants. People aren't laughing with him, they're laughing at him. He has become the jester. He's not a fantastic commentator on our times. He's not got the zeitgeist of the world or anything. He's just saying dumb shit and doing dumb shit that's funny because it's fucking dumb. And Hillary Clinton was trying to be like, you know, personable, but she's actually like a kind of malevolent robot. So she never really quite panned out for her, unfortunately. There you go.
A lot of people have been burned by James, not just in terms of having their writing or videos stolen, one even giving him money to find out he was stealing from them, but on a basic level, liking someone's work and funding them only to realize you're funding plagiarism is humiliating. James has become one of the biggest LGBT...
Non-binary banned Hillary Clinton. I like that that's become a meme now. That's a little channel in joke. By the way, can everyone else see, just because it's going to obviously be a recurring pattern, in the chat right now, if you're on Twitch, can you see the phrase non-binary _ banned Hillary Clinton? Because it doesn't appear on my on the screen. The widget where I've got both the YouTube and the Twitch on the actual screen. But if you can actually see that. Yeah, you can. Okay, cool. No. Do you have to be a subscriber then? Well, no, by Pagerman's a subscriber, so I don't fucking know then. The gay body image. What? Relevant to the video. What's relevant to the video? What? Maria, you've lost the fucking plot. Only mods. Oh, okay. Okay, well, I'll have to tell you then. So it's not even a joke on the channel, it's the joke for the mods. Fucking mods. Nah, I love my mods. My mods are the fucking best.
YouTubers in the room, essentially absorbing all the support and attention that would have otherwise gone to people who actually do work. Other gay video essayists have to come up with their own opinions and actually write them. They can't compete on volume with a guy who's willing to rip off dozens and dozens of other people. Many of the people he's copied were paid very little, and in some cases not at all, for their original material when they wrote it. They were hoping their writing would be recognized and result in future work and more of a career. And in a way, their good work was recognized, but only by James. How much recognition do you think they got when James read their words without crediting them? And on the other hand, how much money has James made from them? How much money has he made in fundraising to start a film studio on the back of this career he got from them, while making no films? Gay writers are already poorly recognized for their work and contributions. It's a common problem. James should know about this. In Code Breakers or Queering Cinema or whatever it'll be called next time, James has a surprisingly eloquent section about how gay people keep going missing from history and being forgotten. This part was stolen too.
So as we start out on our
True,
lifelong
Alex.
personal journeys, how do we discover our queer identity if we don't know much about those who came before us?
Stephen Spinks's column is extremely moving to read and genuinely important. And no one watching James's video had the chance to learn his name. James made a lot of money repeatedly re-uploading a video about the erasure of queer people, and he did it by erasing queer people. I guess when he renamed it Queering Cinema by any means necessary, he meant it. Every re-upload, the credits get longer. The list of people he's conned grows. The works he's stealing from aren't doing quite so well. This column was written in 2019 for Midlands Zone magazine, the UK's biggest regional gay publication. Due to the impact of the pandemic,
Midlands queers represent. Whoop, whoop, whoop.
Midlands Zone ceased production in 2020. This year, their official site went down, along with its archive of articles like this one. Googling the words James stole now gets you no results. I only found this plagiarism because I noticed it before the website fell off the internet. Good writing about queer living is hard to find and easy to lose. And in obscurity, it becomes even easier to pretend it was yours. None of the money he makes will go to the people who wrote the great lines his viewers enjoyed. They get to rot in the very obscurity he pretends to criticize.
Oh, God, this is fucking brutal. This is fucking brutal. Needs to be said. I'm glad he's saying it, but it's fucking... Oof. It's a kick in the dick.
While James takes all the oxygen for himself to promote only himself and position himself as a crusader for real representation, while giving a speech he stole about how gay people keep going missing from the story. I wonder how that happened.
It provokes a deep and meaningful question, I think. What is the real, tangible impact of gay erasure?
There is something a little bit soul-crushing about watching a man be paid thousands and thousands...
It really is, yeah. That's what I mean. It's a gut punch.
...thousands of dollars to literally plagiarize the phrase, "What is the real, tangible impact of gay erasure?" This is the impact. I don't know what I'm supposed to do about this. I don't even know if I should be making this video. I was just trying to double-check 2 or 3 old plagiarism accusations, and I ended up finding a whole bunch more, and I have functionally made a drama video about some guy. And worse, if this video goes up and is monetized and gets views, I have been paid, financially rewarded for making this. I don't find that acceptable.
Why? This is original work. And it's drawing attention to the important things.
Especially not when the story is really about people who were never compensated for their work being stolen. So to make sure I have no financial incentive to make a video like this again, I'm going to be dividing any of the ad revenue this video makes among the creators James stole from. I'll be conducting a thorough examination of every video James has posted, including the many he has deleted I can find archives of, and contact everyone I can. At least the stuff he got from that weird right-wing guy isn't in the video, so he technically wasn't stolen from and doesn't need to be paid. You dodged a bullet for me there, James. It also occurs to me now that I will...
Well, no, clearly he does have integrity, but I don't think it would have lacked integrity to not do this. Like, don't get me wrong, I think it's a really nice touch, but I don't think he needs to feel that way. I don't think he needs to feel that that's the case, because he's not stealing from them. And it's a really, like I say, it's a really nice touch. And he's probably not, like, he'll still do very well. I'm sure he's got lots of patrons and all the rest of it, right? That's fine. But it's still, I don't think he needs to feel bad about that, because it is original work. And it is drawing attention to those things in a way that James never did. No, it would have lacked integrity. Well, main captain, explain yourself. explain yourself, because you're basically saying I lack integrity there. Because in this situation, I don't think I'd have felt the necessity to do this. Well, don't get me wrong, I might still have done, but like yeah.
I'll have to make a substantial donation to Wikipedia.
Something that really got to me researching this video was watching James pitch himself as the queer creator to support. Making YouTube queerer entails giving him and his movie studio your money, and not the other talented people who have a fraction of his support. He extremely rarely recommends or speaks positively of any other creators, as if to him fellow members of his community are competitors. He acts like no one else is talking about these issues, and no one else sees things his way, even though he stole those observations, so obviously people do. The trickle...
Oh, you don't think he would... Oh, okay. Okay. Fair enough. I'll let you off then, main captain. I thought we were going to have issues. No, I was only joking anyway. Look, I wouldn't have had a problem if you'd had, like, you've got a genuine point or whatever. Like, I get angry with people for like poor quality trolling, but if you've got a serious critique or difference of opinion, I'm always open to it. What is it, Clem motherfucking Fandango? I tried to make Maria once and the other mods refused, which I take as indication I'm less reasonable than I assumed. What? I don't know what that means, 255, but no, you're alright. H-Bomb has 17,000 Patreons. Oh, Jesus Christ. Minimum of 2 a month with 4... Yeah, no, he's earning a fortune, yeah. And fair play to him, like, he's been successful, good for him. And it's good to see, like, leftists' voices in the media doing well. I don't begrudge him his success for a second, but clearly he's doing very well for himself. That's fine. The other mods won't let me be mod here, apparently. Why not?
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him! Victory is ours!
Well, I've overridden the mods. The mods are just gonna have to fucking deal with it. Cope. Thank you, Liquid Ego, for following. Welcome to the Kevolution.
Down effect of this behavior is a little upsetting. From the look of his comment sections, his devout fans believe him when he says there's no one else doing what he does. It's a manipulative strategy. Some young queer people feel underrepresented because the main guy they watch says they are, and that sucks to see happen. So I want to recommend some of my favorite queer creators in case James fans who made it this far need to know someone else they could watch and support. Matt Baum is a brilliant creator who, to put it bluntly, is the platonic ideal of what if James Summerton was good? His videos are entertaining but also well researched. He doesn't need to steal from books to discuss the evil queens of the Disney canon. He writes his own books because he actually does his own work. His video about Disney villains is a favorite of mine, and a
Hi Honey, I'm Homo is very good.
Palate cleanser after watching someone reconstitute other people.
Just for reference there.
People's observations into Smug Hamburger. Khadija Mbawe's ability to be energetic and funny when handling sensitive topics is incredibly refreshing, and instantly makes the conversation at hand so much more useful. Their video about the politics of coming out, the evolution of the concept, and whether maybe we fixate a little too much on what it's come to mean in modern culture is great. Give it a shot. Lady Emily's videos are all made for me, but the one about Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy explores the history of two of DC Canon's most important characters, and why they make such an engaging couple in stories. I recommend it, especially if you've not seen any of the good stuff coming out of DC lately, which does exist, like Teen Titans Go, or the Snyder Cut. Shanspia covers a broad range of issues from AI to Lolita, but their video about true crime is a great tour of our species' long-term morbid fascination with gruesome stories. Shanspia asks, why are we fascinated with true crime, with real curiosity rather than judgment? They don't even make up any white women to get mad at. Amazing! Ricky Hirsch has made a ton of videos about media and gender over the years. Kat only found her by searching queer horror on YouTube.
How do you even make a story where you don't make up white women to get angry about? Like, how do you even make a video? I don't know. Chill out, 255.
And scrolling down for several minutes to see what was buried under the huge pile of James Summerton and X and Y being gay for Z minutes straight. I recommend her recent one about body horror, which explored gender's role in it in a way that made me say out loud, "Oh, right, yeah." It's good. Give it a shot. I just found out about Verity Richie and their channel Verily Bitchy, good one, but their videos with the help of...
Literally, I mentioned them earlier. Amazing channel. Go and watch them.
Co-writer Ada are really entertaining. I should recommend the video about the lesbian gays just to offset all the baggage I had to experience making this, but the one about Doctor Who and women is great and also deals with gayness, so it counts. And after all this, I'd be amiss not to recommend Alexander Avila, whose latest videos have been real bangers. The type of content he makes has evolved in the last year or so from funny queer-oriented media analysis to funny queer-oriented life analysis. TikTok Gave Me Autism is really good, and I'd plagiarize it if I could get away with it at this point. There's a ton more queer creators out there covering the topics James pretends to, and they manage to do it with their own words, even without his massive budget. Linked in the description is a playlist with these and more video essays on queer media, or history, or politics, or philosophy, or queer anything really, from creators you should consider giving a look if you
Kaz Rowe as well, yeah. Kaz Rowe's fucking good.
haven't. It's been reassuring putting this part of the video together and getting to fully realize there's plenty of us out there, and most of them are very cool. James was the exception to a group of entertaining, thoughtful, and kind human beings. I'm proud of us. Yeah, I guess that's the word, isn't it? Anyway, let's try to pull a rabbit out of this bloody mess of a hat. I'm gonna put my wall back up and try to come to a wider conclusion about plagiarism real quick. One sec. Rachel, you haven't even held the camera. Can you help me with this at least? That's right, she's real. You don't know me. To me, to you. It's on! Thanks for that.
To me, to you is a lovely reference point. You gotta love some Chuckle Brothers. As we've mentioned the Chuckle Brothers, should we end off tonight's proceedings with that song? The Chuckle Brothers rap thing. Fucking mental.
We've talked a lot today about what plagiarism is, but we should also talk a little bit about what it isn't. It's completely fine to be inspired by someone or build on ideas you got from somewhere else, especially if you're open about it. Famous big boy YouTuber Ludwig has a thing he calls the yoink and twist, where he gets ideas from existing videos and openly broadcasts he's doing his own spin on it. In his video about that one guy copying the Capsule Hotel video, he happily says where he got the stuff he drew on for his own work.
This is me trying silly chess ideas, and look at all the tweets beside me with your ideas suck. Genius thumbnail. I got it from Fundy. I got it from Fundy. I made your dumb ideas in Minecraft, and then he has a bunch of tweets next to him.
It's hard for anyone to feel ripped off when he's open about where he got the ideas. I'm old enough now that when I was yay high, I was here for the first time this conversation happened on YouTube. It's easy to get rose-tinted about the early days, the 240p wiki wild wild west before anyone had sponsorships or even qualified for ad revenue. There was no money in it, so people just made what they liked making. Things were better, more original then. This was never the case. There wasn't capital, but there was social capital, and that spends almost as good. The AVGN, one of the subjects of this video, had dozens of knockoffs vying for his spot. The Irate Gamer, the Game Dude, the Sega Kid, Urinating Tree, Armake21, Acoustic Rocker, Undercover Filmer, the Pissed Off Angry Gamer Man.
Nintendo Shit Cube.
Even before there was any money in it, we were drowning in people competing to be the guy calling NES Batman a shitload of fuck. But even back then, you could draw a line between people who cynically want to be the guy and people who wanted to be themselves, but inspired and informed by ideas they liked. Second-generation critics, like the Spoony one, are open about drawing inspiration from Armake21, one of the better angry reviewers. And how many people claim inspiration from Spoony one today? too many. Stop Skeletons from Fighting, who, unlike everyone I just mentioned, is still around today because he developed his own new ideas, started out by taking inspiration from all these people and then deliberately doing the opposite.
I basically haven't heard of virtually any of the people he's mentioned so far.
With the happy video game nerd, being positive about games he liked. Now that's a yoinkin' twist. YouTube is a beautiful cesspool of inspiration, remixing, riffing, parody. Drawing on existing ideas is a great way of making something new and unique. It's only wrong when you add nothing and try to pretend it was yours in the first place.
And you don't have to cite your sources like a rocket scientist either. Sonic lore YouTuber Cybershell frequently uses information and images he got from websites like The Cutting Room Floor and just explains where he's getting it from and often asks permission to use it. A coward would hide their source in a paste bin and not mention it anywhere else, but his videos are great because he shows you where you could learn more, and maybe even makes fun of you for not reading the website yourself in the first place, while explaining the topic in his own way. This is why Cat is forcing me to tell you his Chow video is objectively the best thing on YouTube. Thanks a lot, Cat. Fittingly, when Cybershell inspires someone, they're equally open about it. When one of his videos led Alan Pan to invent a device to steal soda from Universal Studios, he tells you right at the start he found out about the original from Cybershell's video. This is the community spirit I love to see on this website. It's kind of beautiful watching a wider story unfold, one generation of Baja Blast thieves passing on their designs to the next. If you're honest about it, there's not even anything wrong with adapting a book or telling people what you've found on Wikipedia. Different people like getting information in different ways. Wikipedia lets people record and upload readings of pages so you can learn about Bhutanese passports through audio, and they do it for a reason.
Bhutanese passport!
Some people might even prefer a video version. It would practically be an accessibility feature. Making video adaptations of interesting books or mental floss articles is an idea with potential. It's a way of spreading writing and ideas to a new audience, and all you have to do is be honest about it. That also forces you to be accountable. You'd have to ask permission and get the approval of the people who wrote what you're adapting.
Exactly, you do have to ask for permission. You can't just fucking steal.
Which clears up any potential criticisms or infringement on the existing work. Speaking of adaptation, what
like when I still claim, and I am going to hold him to this forever, that I own the rights, not the income or anything, but I own the right to use War Corpse's written works for my own purposes forever. Because that was a deal we agreed to verbally many years ago. So I own the rights to openly read and critique all of his shit writings. And you know what? I'm quite proud of that. It's the only thing in my intellectual portfolio, I guess. I don't know. My theoretical portfolio of media works. But I'm absolutely holding to that.
What about different languages? This is another way of sneaking plagiarism under the radar.
You might be wondering why.
Oh, he agreed to that so that I would do a debate with him years ago. And I remember it was just after I cut my grass as well. I cut my grass that day. I was doing some proper adulting. I cut the grass, which meant I touched grass, literally, lots of it, too much of it, in fact. And then I debated a twat many thousands of miles away. Who was he doing some weird transphobia or something? I can't remember. I mean, it was War Corps, so almost certainly, but, you know.
I am subtitled in Portuguese.
A few years back, Jeff Thu, the guy James quoted someone quoting, covered how a Brazilian YouTuber had been stealing dozens of videos from him and other English-speaking...
He lives in Minnesota.
...creators, but in Portuguese, so us cadelas would never notice. This sucks, but it also points to one of the core barriers to accessibility for creators. Most videos are trapped in their mother tongue, making them hard to watch in other languages, and therefore easier to steal. This is why some clever creators very smartly let their producer trick him into paying people to do proper captions for the vaccines video in Portuguese, Spanish, and French so more people could engage with the facts of the story, and Pathologic into Russian because I know who watches that video. Translation is a big part of video discovery, in more ways than one. For Spoonie fans, a lot of his old videos used to be missing, as non-YouTube video hosts died and their content didn't make the jump. Many of his videos weren't viewable on YouTube, were it not for the Spoonie Russ. A Russian fan of Spoonie re-uploaded his videos with Russian subtitles, and some of these were the only versions of those videos that existed on the net, at least for a while. Subtitling his videos didn't just make him accessible to a new language, but to the original language too. That's pretty cool. But you can go deeper than sub. You can dub.
Времени хуже. Это
Вашу мать!
Counter-Strike tuber 3kliksphilip dubbed 2 of a Russian creator's videos about mods they made into English, with permission of course. It's very cool that a video about game development got to cross the language barrier for us sukas to enjoy. There might actually be a market in adapting videos like this.
I don't know really, I have no opinions about this section and I'm a little bit bored by it. I'm sure it means something to other people, I don't care.
I'm sure some of my videos would do very well if someone translated them into English. I think a lot of people are inclined to protect creators they like on the grounds that plagiarism is a very academic-sounding problem, like something that happens in research papers or journalism, not something that you can do in a silly video made for entertainment purposes. Why are we holding YouTubers to standards? That would be like expecting accurate history from someone whose name has historian in it. Because YouTubers often project a sense of being scrappy, do-it-yourself amateurs, it feels almost wrong to expect them to be professional. But a lot of them are professionals, regardless how authentic their persona might be. YouTubers are now among the most recognizable faces on the planet and have become immensely wealthy doing this. Some are so influential, we literally call them influencers. Maybe it's a good idea to have some standards for not stealing. Maybe. In current discourse, YouTubers simultaneously present as the forefront of a new medium, creative voices that need to be taken seriously as part of the next generation of media, and also uwu small beans little babies who shouldn't be taken seriously when they rip someone off and make tens of thousands of dollars doing it. But on the opposite end, YouTubers who act like serious documentarians gain a shroud of professionalism which then masks the deeply unprofessional things they do. We just saw that with James. I think he's partially got away with what he's doing for so long because he acts so professional about it, so people assume there's no way he could just be stealing shit, so they don't check. And on top of that, a lot of James's videos contain obvious mistakes and made-up facts, which we haven't even had the time to get into in this video. But because they're often presented next to well-researched stuff he stole, no one questions it. I've seen James repeat a lie in his videos, and then other people claim it's true and link his video as the proof. He has helped to solidify misinformation by seeming like he's doing his diligence. To quote the great philosopher Danil Dankovsky, "Truth does not do as much good in the world as the appearance of truth does evil." Just kidding, he actually stole that from Francois de la Rochefoucauld. Cite your sources, bachelor! This becomes extremely glaring once you've seen how the other side lives. At the last VidCon I went to, like 4 years ago, I was taking an Uber and a bunch of people came in it with me because we were all going to the same place. A bunch of big YouTubers who I don't know super well, including really massive one, like way more important than me, you know? And we were all just making small talk, and I made a joke that was actually quite funny about the topic we were talking about. And this big YouTuber, she laughed and took out her phone and tweeted it. She heard my joke and just casually went, "Oh, I'll have that." And it became her joke, and she just took it. People really liked the joke too, which felt kind of good, but not really. And what are you gonna do, complain and start a massive public fight with some—
Do we know who he's referring to? Who this particular YouTuberino is? Or was, I guess. I don't know. Do we know? I want names. I want names on my desk. I want photos of Spider-Man on my fucking desk.
Someone extremely famous and get smashed into dust by thousands of fans? No thanks. And that was my Uber too. I paid money to have one of my jokes stolen by a multi-millionaire. When people hit a certain level of celebrity, they start to think the world actually
absolutely cucked himself out. Embarrassing. Cancelled.
Revolves around them, and they can just take something if they want and say it's theirs. I don't have a clever analysis here. Some people are just fucking weird. I'm not smart enough to know what we're supposed to do about plagiarism. I think trying to fix it in any systemic way could risk making it worse. Let's imagine YouTube introduced some kind of plagiarism claim system. We'd be expecting someone at YouTube to be able to decide whether something is plagiarism or not. And I don't like—
And much like the DMCA button, it would get abused to fuck by people trolling. Yeah.
The idea of YouTube having any more power than they already have. If there was a system for handling plagiarism, the Illuminatis of the world wouldn't stop, they'd find ways around it. We've seen in this very video how easy it is to get away with copyright infringement. Just
also, it couldn't have been Lindsay Ellis because he said he didn't really know them, and they're like friends, so that would be a weird description.
blur the logos and slap a filter over it. These systems are so untrustworthy, when Internet Historian correctly got copyright claimed for stealing an entire article, people automatically assumed it was some kind of mistake, because YouTube is quite fairly viewed as bad at handling this, just as likely to shut down perfectly fair use work as it is actual infringement of copyright. A system like this would also allow bad actors to falsely accuse people, which would create a lot of problems for their targets. People falsely copyright claim videos they don't like all the time already. It's happened to me. I almost had to give a Nazi my home address so that a video would go back up. I'm half expecting some of the people this video was about to try it with this one. Maybe let's not give YouTube any more easily exploitable features. I want my joke back, but I can live without it if it means not giving the bad guys another toy. Simply being able to talk about plagiarism and bring attention to it and let people decide if something is and who they want to support going forward, that's good enough for now. But don't take my word for it on this. I'm certainly not. Someone smarter than me might come up with a better idea, so let's keep our eyes peeled for that. As technology progresses, the methods of plagiarism are getting stranger and more complex. The hot new tool in the stealing tools box is generative AI, like ChatGPT, Stable Diffusion, or Midjourney, which can produce new art or words on command using a process known as stealing. Sorry, that's an oversimplification. The process is called, complicated stealing. Theoretically, generative AI works by training on a large dataset of existing material to figure out how to make new things. Before we even ask whether stuff generated by this counts as original, we have to ask, how did they get all that material? Well, by taking a lot of stuff without its creator's consent. ChatGPT has intricate knowledge of copyrighted works it shouldn't legally have access to, and when you ask it to write something original, it's just smushing all the stolen data together and using pattern recognition to
it's just complicated stealing.
Try to guess the next word. It can't actually intuit things based on context. Here's what ChatGPT thinks I'd say about ChatGPT. It's like having your own personal tutor, therapist, and fact-checker rolled into one. So whether you're here for the knowledge, the banter, or just to see how deep the rabbit hole goes, buckle up. It knows I say buckle up. I'll give you that. None of the people whose stuff was stolen to create this were asked permission or compensated. I certainly wasn't, but you
To be fair, it fucked you up with that buckle up bit. Okay, got you, Daddy, pegged you. It fucking ruined you, son.
They're charging you a monthly subscription for the privilege of using Theft Machine 4.0. When you look into what a large language model actually does, it boils down to a slightly more advanced version of mashing the predictive text button on your phone, which makes it especially dangerous when it comes to writing reliable information. AI frequently hallucinates imaginary people, books, and historical events, because it doesn't actually know any facts, just what facts look like. It's like asking James who came up with Disney Gay Days. You can't trust it. They had to put "Don't trust me" at the bottom so they don't get in trouble for inventing a machine that makes up lies. But because it has copied a lot of text and can guess a lot of new ways of saying it, the power this tool brings specifically to thieves is tremendous. ChatGPT's one truly impressive feature is how well it enables plagiarism. You could just paste a bunch of stolen stuff you got from Wikipedia or someone else's video in there and tell it to rewrite it so it sounds different. I wouldn't be surprised if James's videos suddenly stop having easily detectable plagiarism in them right around the time computers become able to launder this type of theft. Now it's a machine accidentally changing the quotes. Some creators have found people copying their work using this exact method, feeding their videos' transcripts into a GPT, asking for a different sounding version and using it as the basis for a new video. While it's scary to consider a world where machines crank out videos copying your work and replace you, the plagiarism is extremely obvious. It's just someone's script reworded badly. The thumbnails are just a thesaurus version of the originals that doesn't even make sense, and the videos themselves actively demonstrate they're using footage from the original video. It's sloppy. The videos are unwatchably bad, so no one watched them. When someone finally did, they were caught immediately. Not to downplay the chance for these to be successful, or the possibility of a more sophisticated version in the future, but it's heartening to recognize that these aren't even really AI. A person had to make these videos. It's still just people doing the stealing here. Pointing out AI was involved is almost a misdirection. A human being stole a video and made his own. All the AI did was speed up the process of making a shitty, obviously stolen video by doing the bad rewriting for them. People have been ripping each other off long before AI happened, and for now, it's still people. So, why do people plagiarize? We've talked a lot of superficials in this video, wanting money or prestige or clout or to get one over on your enemies by jacking their stuff.
I don't think that's superficial. I think that's the core of why people do it.
But these are small things. There's other ways of getting those. The reason humans copy like this, I think, goes a bit deeper. We don't exactly live in a world built for humans, do we? There's no guidebook for happiness or success or a sense of place in the world, and the people claiming to have one for you are really just trying to sell you something. We spend most of our little lives struggling to make these feelings fade away, or find something to placate them. It's either ennui, or being ennuied. I know it's a little pretentious, but...
Okay, I wasn't expecting a pissing joke.
We're all searching for a sense of meaning and purpose in our lives, and those things are hard to come by. There's a little bit of nothing in all of us, and we'd like to fill it with something. Opening your web browser and seeing someone who seems to have it figured out, making you feel better and entertaining you, and seeming to attract an audience on this roulette wheel of a planet, that's powerful. There's someone who seems to understand what they're supposed to be doing, and it's working. That's all anyone really wants. Sure, in retrospect, a bunch of people wanting to be exactly like the AVGN sound.
On weed. Maybe. I don't know. I thought it was a pissing joke, but maybe it's a weed joke. To be fair, it's fucking 1:10 in the morning. I've had a hard day. Forgive me. I have sinned. Or something. I don't know.
Sounds silly. But he knew who he was. He was the angriest gamer you've ever heard. We can laugh, in fact, you're supposed to. But that's a human being with purpose. There's someone who's not anxious about their place in the world anymore. It's very difficult not to want that completeness for yourself, not to just be like someone, but to be them, to attain that sense of knowing. In real life, James Rolfe is a human being with all sorts of problems and fears, but that doesn't stop people from wanting to be like the person he seems, someone who knows their place in the world. I know this is getting a bit pretentious and heavy for a video about plagiarism, but I do worry there are people out there who will never get the chance to become who they are because they're too busy trying to be like someone else who, at best, has it figured out for themselves just a little bit. I feel like I know who I am and how to live my life, and that makes me feel happy and somewhat complete. And I don't think I'd have ever found myself if I was trying to chase someone else's sense of completeness. Basically, no one knows how to live your life, and you might not either, but the only person who's going to figure it out is you. And you won't find that by trying to be the next that person. You can only be the first of whoever it is that you are. Other people help in small ways, though. They give you pointers to who you could be. And I think what makes me happiest in the world is feeling like I might have helped some people with that. People take inspiration from my work sometimes, and that is very cool. It's the ultimate flattery, and let's be honest, the closest I'll ever come to having children. If you find any happiness or success...
That's a grim way of looking at it.
Success making something creatively, and you think I helped, thank you. Feeling like I can do that for someone makes me happy in a way I can't describe. And if you find a lot of success doing it, give me all of your money.
Okay, you get the idea. It's just going to be that now. Okay, cool. Right. Everyone go and follow H Bomber Guy. That was fucking amazing. An absolute classic. A banger of the genre. Much like the Chuckle Brothers rap. You missed your James emote. Well, there's only one way of getting the James emote back, isn't there?
Yo, Cloud9 Strap, F64, yeah, we signed, SBTV, I'm back. It's been a minute, but I got a couple things I want to touch on. Hello. Wait, I swear you're the Chuckle Brothers, you must be
Barry.
And his, nah, something's weird, where's your ladders?
In the van. Go get him, Barry. What, now? Yes, just a minute.
And I'm glad I waited until 1:15 in the morning UK time to bring out this very UK specific meme. good timings.
It's Tinchy. It isn't. It is. It is. It is. Is it? Yes.
Oh yeah, it's me. Look up there, there's a leak. You're exactly the pair I need. Now wait, in fact, let me ask one question.
One question?
Just one. I respect you both, so you're welcome here. But who or what really brought you here?
Dan, in his van. Silly question.
Yeah, what a silly question. Oh, cheeky and rude. I know my role. You play yours too and put them ladders up. Yeah, before you trip over laces, tie up the shoes.
I wear slip-ons. Get the ladders, Barry.
Mate, over here, quick word. Barry's got shoes and they come with laces. You must have both misheard.
Oh dear. Oh dear, oh dear. Oh dear. Oh dear, oh dear. Oh dear. Oh dear, oh dear. Oh dear.
Yeah, safe in it.
Oh dear. Oh dear, oh dear. Oh dear. Oh dear, oh dear. Oh dear. Oh dear, oh dear. Oh dear.
There's another
He's got shoes that come with laces. I hope everyone understands that.
who's taking it.
To me.
To you.
To me.
To you then.
To me.
To you.
To me.
To you then.
To me.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think some of the sort of founding individuals of rap, hip hop, urban culture, if they saw that this was what this was going to lead to, I think they might have thought otherwise. Much like the cultural equivalent of Oppenheimer. If you could go back in time and stop the invention of rap music, to stop this specifically from happening, I think ethically you really ought to. I think ethically there's no other option, is there, but to remove it from Earth.
To you.
To me.
To you then.
To me.
To you.
To me.
To you then.
Oh, just stop with that me to you, to me to you, to me to you stuff. We both got things to do from me to you, to me to you, bruv.
What?
Stop all that me to you, to me to you, to me to you stuff.
You?
We both got things to do from me to you, to me to you. You two funny dudes. Jokes aside, no pun intended. Mind your own business.
Tis our business. We want to sing a song.
We could do a duet.
Duet, there's three of us.
Nah, that's a step too far. In fact, you can rap to the next two bars.
Hibbity hop.
Oh man.
Oh dear.
Oh dear, oh dear.
Oh dear.
Oh dear, oh dear.
Oh dear.
Oh dear, oh dear.
Oh dear.
Yeah, safe in it.
Oh dear.
Oh dear, oh dear.
Oh dear.
Oh dear, oh dear.
Oh dear.
Oh dear, oh dear.
Oh dear.
My time, you're wasting it.
So, what do you think, Tinchy? Do you think we should put down a track?
Look, I met you at Keith Lemon's show, you know, and I said I got a leak.
Ah, but it was great, mate. No, I mean, you wanted it, eh?
Of course, we could sing about a leak.
I don't know about this doing songs together.
You see, the thing is, we sing like somewhere
yes,
you know, something like that.
No. Let's
Yeah, but
get
we
it
can.
right straight.
We sing songs.
Yo, please,
Yeah, but,
bruv.
yeah, but I mean, you need to sing with us.
I respect you, but, bruv, please.
Oh
Please,
dear,
bruv,
oh
bruv.
dear, oh dear, oh dear. All right then, Tinchy, we'll see ya.
Yeah, we better go then.
See you then, bye.
Yeah.
To me.
To you.
To me.
To you then.
To me.
To you.
To me.
To you then.
To me.
To you.
To me.
To you then.
To me.
To you.
To me.
To you then.
Yeah, these lads ran so that the Northern boys could walk. Yeah, the wrong way round. You heard me. What a time to be alive. What a time to be alive. I will be back tomorrow with Christy Winters to do a midweek show about something. Who fucking knows? I'm going to send you all over to Hannah Reloaded, who is dope as fuck. Thank you so much for all of your support and for distracting me on what was been a very, very tricky day for me. So thank you enormously to everybody. Stay beautiful. No pass around.